Getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but three first names. David Scott Kelly.
It is the biggest game in America. It happens every 4 years. It's the DNC against the RNC. Not the AFC and the NFC. It is the run for the White House. Who will be the champion at the end of the night? Or will it be the end of the week? Or will it be the end of next week? As we have come to find out here in the United States, sometimes it takes a while to decide a champion when we're talking about the president of the United States. It's the DNC champion, Kamala Harris. It's the RNC champion, Donald J. Trump. Who will win and run the country for the next 4 years? Welcome to Election Day in America. We should start to see some results, maybe towards the tail end of our show. I hope you went out and voted today. I'm a traditionalist. I vote on Election Day. I don't vote early. My wife votes early. My mother votes early. I'm sure most of the people in my family vote early. But there's something about Election Day for me and going into that polling place and actually pulling that lever. We don't really pull levers anymore. Actually trying to figure out a way to not color outside of the little oval, which, if you've listened to the show before, is a problem for me. I think there was only maybe, how many ovals were there today? I think there was quite like 20 plus ovals. I think there was only three. There was only three where I was outside of the lines. So that's pretty good. 17 out of 20 ovals. I'll take that. And so after the primary, and I'm joined by my guys here. We'll bring them up, David Amata and JW Madden. After the primaries, I kind of got on here and I complained because who built voting booths? Because you go to this voting booth and so you're standing up. I'm just going to stand up for effect here if you're watching on. So you go to the voting booth and I'm standing up for effect, right? And it's like where I actually have to do the writing is like down at belt level. Okay, so it's like way down here. And so you constantly have to lean over. You have to kind of lean over and fill in your ballot. It's like, why can't we have a voting booth? Why has no one created a voting booth that like where the writing like is here by your chest and all I have to do is like, I don't have to bend over and throw my back out trying to cast my ballot.
You're not old enough.
I'm not old enough.
The primary voting block that consistently goes into those booths are people 70 and over, and they are already kind of hunched a little bit to begin with, DK. So getting down to that voting and putting those ovals in is not a problem.
So, okay.
I think the honest answer, obviously I'm joking, but the honest answer is probably an average height of all people who could potentially be coming in, and they have to set it up so it's convenient both for very short people and obviously tall people are never convenient because you got to duck under door frames and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But there's no middle ground where you can make that universal.
Yeah, no, it's going to be one of those things where it's for certain people it works fine, for other people it doesn't. If you're complaining about the slanted desks, it's not the only place you see them. There were a couple of those when I was in college about a decade ago. So the slanted desk thing is becoming more popular. I feel like that a lot of that had to do with people getting those laptop trays that they would bring out that are slanted. That way you're not resting your wrists right on the edge of the laptop. Now it's a little bit more of a gradual incline. I think that's just a general, transfer of what the desk looks like traditionally. You don't get a lot of flat desks when you have to write things in anymore.
Would you do like they have those standing desks now? Would you do that? Would that work for either of you? Like a standing
I have
desk?
one. I have one at my house with.
You have a standing desk?
I have a standing desk
Wow,
that has
okay.
it's a lifter, so I can put it down for when I want to sit at my desk, and I can raise it when I want to stand at it. It's
Nice.
very, very good. I
Nice.
suggest it highly.
Well,
Yes.
30 years ago when I was in college, I went to school for graphic design and advertising arts, and every single one of those
You guys-
desks is a
yeah.
standing desk.
Right,
so, I mean,
exactly.
and in the industry, when you work in any kind of industry like that, so I think a lot of the trend of standing desks in offices almost came from a design studio because going to any of those, and all of those are basically standing. It's really before CAD, when they were designing buildings and they had to do blueprints and whatnot, those are all standing. There's no chairs allowed.
So I walk in today and they actually had a desk, like they had a table with chairs, and I'm like, oh, I can go sit down and vote. And so 4 years ago I got up because 4 years ago was crazy. When Joe Biden ran against Donald Trump. And so there was going to be a lot of people voting. So I actually got up at like 6 a.m. to go get in line at my polling place so I could be there to vote at 7 in the morning. And I waited 45 minutes. So the longest I've ever waited to vote in an election is right about 45 minutes. It always marvels me to hear these stories of these lines and people waiting 5 hours to go vote in the United States. I'm like, I've lived in major cities, I've lived in small towns, I've lived in medium-sized cities, and I've never waited. It's never taken me more than 45 minutes to vote. It took me 45 minutes one time in Cleveland. I think that might have been 2000 election maybe, and then 2020 when I went at 7 in the morning. Those are the only times it took me longer than a half an hour to vote. But now you've got these crazy stories of people waiting in line for 5 hours, which is why a lot of people vote early. But like I said at the top, for me, there's something special about Election Day and going in on the day of and casting my ballot. I like doing it that way. I'm still a little bit old school. You guys, early, day of, what do you guys do?
I went ahead and I voted early. I went ahead and I went to the Pima County Recorder's website, found where my nearest early voting site was going to be. I had at one point done mail-in. I think that was back when I was still in college. A lot of references to my college days apparently today. But since then, I have been more of an early voter guy. So as soon as I get the week before the election, I'll go in and I'll vote there primarily in the general elections and things like that.
Yeah, I think most of those places you're talking about, DK, with the long lines are the idea of, they close a lot of polling places is the issue. And Pima Counties, I've never really had that problem. So I've never really seen any kind of line. But I do. I generally get a ballot early, and I've gone in and done it. I've done both. I mean, I've gone in and done it in person day of. This year, I went in on Thursday, I think was the day I dropped it off. Went to a library. Inside of the library, there was a blue box. A lot of people were in there doing early voting to begin with, and I just put my envelope, double sealed envelope, in the blue box. Easy peasy.
There you go. So we've got two earlies, and I'm the only traditionalist. At least we'll find out what Cricket does here as well when we get a chance to talk to her. So there was a table. And so I got to my polling place. There was no line. There was nobody there. I gotten up. My wife said, she said, I drove by the church. There's no line. I was like,
First of all, you went to sleep at 3 o'clock in the morning because of our post game.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the other thing. J-Dub and I we were walking out of here at 2 in the morning. And I'm like, this is the one time I wish I had have signed up to vote early. If I had known this game was going to be at 8 o'clock the night before election night, and I was going to be here until 2 in the morning, I might have considered voting early because I wanted. And the other thing was it scared me. I was like, I was debating whether I was going to go vote in the morning or whether I was going to maybe try to wait and go vote after the show between 6 and 7 in the last hour.
Good luck.
But exactly. I didn't want to risk that because, everybody got a lot of people that have to work.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. I'm one of those people that believes that Election Day should be a national holiday. It should be. I mean, it's if you want people to take part in the democracy of this country, then it should be a day off for everyone to go do that. A few years ago, I don't know what they did over at U of A in terms of the athletes. I know the last cycle around, they designated Election Day.
Stadium, right? Didn't they do the stadium? Or was it McHale?
No, yeah, well, I think they had voting in McHale, but they designated Election Day as a day off for the kids. Like, there was no practices. Everything was shut down so the kids could go and participate in the process. I don't know that they did that this year. We asked Desiree Reed-Francois about that a few weeks ago. They had not formulated a plan, or she didn't know at that particular point what they were going to do. We never got any notice that they were going to do that, so I don't know that it was a day off for the kids.
Not to get too deep in the weeds here, but those two things go hand in hand. Long 5-hour lines.
Right.
And am I going to get fired because I can't get today off because it's not a national holiday? I mean, that's the intention of all that, right? Mm-hmm. It can make it semi-difficult because, I mean, I think a lot of people are of the opinion that a national holiday for the election would be easy is probably the right word for everybody. But DK, Dragon Ball, not everybody wants it to be easy.
Right.
That's the problem.
There you go. There you go. 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290 if you want to talk about how you voted today. Well, not necessarily how you voted in terms of who you voted for, but whether you voted today, whether you voted early, which you prefer, what's easier for you, if Election Day should be a national holiday. We can talk about all of those things.
I voted for Bodie Boatface.
Bodie McBoatface.
Yeah, did you ever hear that story?
I thought you were going to say you voted for Brody Dryden.
No, Bodie McBoatface. And they did this poll in England, and they were like, it was like some, choices for something to name a boat in the harbor or whatever. And everybody wrote in the most ridiculous, dumb thing humanly possible. So,
wow. There you go. Outstanding. I didn't do any writing in today. I thought about it when I got to one section, but I did not do that. So anyway, yeah, so there was a table, and so I'm eyeing the table, and I said, well, I'm going to go sit down and vote because I'm not going to throw my back out because I knew I was going to be there for a little while because I hadn't necessarily researched everything.
It's tough if you get the judges and there's 20 judges and you're I don't know a lot of these people.
And I want to talk about the judges because I think that's important. I think it's I didn't really understand the totality of voting on judges until the last cycle. And now it's like, I understand that it's important. I mean, it's just important to know who your judges are as it is to know who's running for Senate and who's running for the president because of the fact that the folks who get in line or ascend to the point where they can be appointed to federal positions like Supreme Court justices are the people that you're voting for today on your ballot. Those judges that are on your ballot right now in 10, 20 years could be people that are getting selected to be on the Supreme Court. So you should know who they are right now. And that's never been more apparent to me than through the last two cycles. I often tell people, so I spent, like I said, I spent a lot of time. I'll whisper this. I spent a lot of time in traffic court as a youngster. I spent a lot of time in traffic court.
Parking or speeding?
A little bit of both. A little bit of both. Little parking, little speeding, a lot of that stuff. So I remember the times just so I would be in traffic court, and then I'd go to vote, and oh, wait a minute. That was the judge that I was in traffic court with, right? That was the only way I knew these judges was because I was in traffic court a lot. So I was like, oh, yeah, I like the way he handled my case. I'm gonna vote to retain him. That was kind of how it worked when I was in my 20s and
so you're
and
voting based on recidivism and the idea that
if the judge treated me
judge
treated me nice, if he was respectful, it's like you want a respectful. If you go into a courtroom, you want it to be a respectful courtroom.
It's
right?
a shame that courtrooms can't work like restaurants, where it's like, I like that server. Can I request that server?
Can I request that server?
It's like bedside manners for a judge.
Exactly. So back to the table. I keep getting away from the table.
Devon, get the table.
Well, we got 3 hours, so we'll go multiple segments on this. So we'll come back to the table because, of course, this segment has come to an end. But coming up, we're going to talk some U of A basketball. We'll get everybody's thoughts on what they saw last night. Pretty easy win, a little uneven at times. Great start, a little uneven after that. but a win is a win for both the men and the women. Got their wins last night, so that was a good thing. We'll talk about Arizona football. We'll get Dragon Ball's thoughts on the weekend. What he saw was not a great performance. I haven't watched the whole game yet. I usually try to have the whole game watched by the time that Glenn Howe and I break it down on Tuesdays. And
but you're so busy studying judges,
yeah, exactly.
Right?
I was studying judges. I was studying Canisius. I was, all kinds of stuff going on here the last couple of days. That's why we need a break, which we'll be taking a break the next 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so no shows. We'll be back with you after today on Saturday. So hopefully all the screaming and yelling about what happens today will be done by the time we come back and for a real show again next Monday. But I usually try to watch the whole game, but I basically just watched it through 21-0. But there was a lot of stuff to pull out of that 21-0. So we'll get into that as well. We heard Brent Brennan talk yesterday. He had called it unacceptable after the game. Had indicated maybe there might be some changes. There weren't any changes made. People are yelling and screaming about that. People, if he fires a coach right now, what is that really going to do? Seriously, what is that really going to do? Is that going to make you happy because he fired an offensive coordinator, an offensive line coach, or one of the many offensive coaches who are hamstringing this offense? Will that make you happy? Will that change? Is that going to change what's going to happen over the next 3 games? Those are decisions that are best made after the season. And I don't get this whole thing of like, he's got to show power by firing somebody. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. All right, we'll dive into all that. Cricket, though, right now, getting you home every 20 minutes on the 5s with your traffic and your weather.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio, 1290 traffic and weather together. Collisions that are reported at Swan and Glen and Swan, Wilmot and Speedway, and also Alvernon and Speedway Boulevard. Some construction restrictions northbound on Oracle, north of Fort Lowell to south of Prince, with a stay left advisory to get by. And I'm Cricket, and for your weather, we're looking at overnight lows near 50 overnight tonight, the high 67 tomorrow and 70 now. And that's your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. The slow-roasted Cantina chicken menu is here to stay, with ingredients like purple cabbage and freshly prepared pico de gallo. Try it today at a participating U.S. Taco Bell location while supplies last. Contact store for participation, which varies.
Not all sports stations are built the same way. 1290 has Wildcats football, men's basketball, and baseball, plus the NFL and the Super Bowl. Tucson trusts 1290. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Get your backyard summer ready with a custom pool from First Choice Pools. A backyard oasis built around you. First Choice is a full-service builder of beautiful in-ground pools and backyard designs for years of staycations. If you want to dive in this summer, now is the time to visit TucsonPoolBuilder.com. First Choice Pools for installs, renovation, remodeling, and repair. Get started today at TucsonPoolBuilders.com. Ask about our 60-day pool. To be summer ready, First Choice is the only choice.
2025 is bringing the biggest change to air conditioning in decades. New EPA regulations mean AC costs could rise by up to 25%. If you've been thinking about replacing your old AC, now's the time. Rightway is offering zero interest financing and a free furnace when you replace your AC this month. Don't wait till next year when prices go up. Call Rightway today for your free no obligation estimate. Call 520-549-2697.
Tune in to DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290 Thursday afternoons to compete in the Miller Lite Pigskin Challenge, where you can win money by placing a bet on the right team this football season. More info at wildcatsradio1290.com.
There are many reasons you might need Dorado Rockin' Materials. A few bare spots in the yard, the driveway needs filling in, or it could be that the yard needs a whole makeover. Whatever the reason, if your yard has the summertime blues, Dorado Rockin' Materials has everything from sand to boulders and every rock and pebble in between. If you need help spreading it, we have options for that too. Call 400-4233. Dorado Rockin' Materials. The right service, The right product, the right price.
We all know just because gifts for loved ones can look like flowers, a spa day, or maybe even planning date night. But what about something that will truly last and protect your loved ones along the way? I'm talking about life insurance. I called SelectQuote to secure our coverage and couldn't believe how easy and affordable it was. I'm 40, and my $500,000 policy was only $16 a month. My husband's also 40, and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. And with their same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. With monthly payments less than the cost of a bouquet of flowers, this is the perfect time to make sure your family is protected.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-596-2626 or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-596-2626. 1-800-596-2626. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Marco Polo. Hoping to find new customers online can feel like playing Marco Polo in the dark.
Plumber. Right here. Plumber. Right here.
Let Cumulus Boost help spotlight your business. Boost your website. Boost your findability. Boost your reputation. Boost your business. Get a boost. Get found. Get on the map. Contact us today at cumulusboost.com.
Wildcats Radio 1290 is everywhere. You can now hear us on our free app from the App and Google Play Store, streaming on wildcatsradio1290.com, iHeartRadio and Odyssey app, and even on 1290 AM. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
This is Jim Rome with your Rome Report. I will give Tampa this much. At least they made it close. Closer than most expected. Certainly closer than I expected. Given how busted up they are, probably closer than they had any business playing the Chiefs in Arrowhead. Close enough that they actually had a shot to win that game on one play late. So why didn't they take that shot? No, seriously, why didn't Tampa decide to go for two in the win? Why play for overtime against the Chiefs in Arrowhead? It was borderline miraculous that Tampa even had a chance to win that game. So why not take that chance? Go and try to win the game. Instead, Tampa head coach Todd Bowles decided he would rather take a chance with an OT coin flip and never touch the ball again. That's why when you have a chance to finish the double champ and you have a boot on their throat, you finish the double champ. Football season is heating up, and PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action while watching football. The app is so simple to use. Just pick more or less on at least two players for a shot to win up to 100 times your money. Download the PrizePicks app today and use the code ROME, R-O-M-E, and get a $50 credit instantly when you play $5. That's code ROME on PrizePicks to get a $50 credit instantly when you play $5. PrizePicks, run your game. Must be present in certain states where it's lawful to wager. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
O'Reilly. You've got questions? O'Reilly Auto Parts has answers. Need a pro you can trust? We've got that too. No matter what you need, our professional parts people have the training and expertise to help you do things right. Deep automotive knowledge. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. You can call us at that number. You can text us at that number. You can also text the word app, APP, to 520-848-1290. I will send you a link, and you can download our app, and our app slaps. We've got full recap on everything that happened yesterday with Arizona men's basketball on our app right now. A reaction from Tommy Lloyd, Jaden Bradley, KJ Lewis, as well as all the analysis last night from myself, JW Madden, and Kelvin Ifan on the post-game show. So just go to our app right now and look for our game story on last night's 93-64 win over Canisius. Wildcats back on the floor Saturday against Old Dominion. Ladies win over UT Arlington. They're back at it on Thursday at McHale Center against Tarleton State. So a lot of basketball happening. No football this week. They're on bye meaning no game. Second bye week of the season for Arizona. Also, no coaches show tonight because the team is on bye. The coaches are out on the road recruiting, trying to make this program a lot better, heading into what we anticipate will be year 2 of the Brent Brennan era, although there's a lot of people out there that don't want Brent Brennan to come back next season as the head coach of this team.
Before you switch over to football, you were just talking basketball, and you've yet to mention that your Cavs have their best start in their franchise's history.
8-0 are those Cavaliers, and they've beaten that. Now, I remember so we talked about this last week, and I was saying, they're beating some teams that are at the bottom. They've beaten Toronto, who's bad. They beat Detroit. They beat Atlanta. But in the last week, they went on the road. It won at Madison Square Garden against a pretty good Knicks team that obviously went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. They beat the Bucks twice. The Bucks are a pretty respectable team. They
should be, but they're 1-6. They should be respectable, but they're not.
You talk about a franchise that's talking about trying to change their coaching staff right now. Oh, my gosh.
So the Doc Rivers era is not working in year one?
It's not just Doc Rivers anymore. You got to remember, there's a second head to this Hydra now. There's Doc Rivers and there's Darvin Ham.
Oh, wow.
Now you got
Darvin is there on his staff? Oh, jeez. Wow. Okay. Well, there you go. So, well, see, now take the wind out of my sails that we got 2 wins over the Bucks. They beat Orlando. Orlando. They beat who else? Well, they beat Washington. But again, 8-0 is 8-0. So we'll take it.
I was gonna say, is the win against the Magic, was that before or after Paolo Banchero went out with a?
It was after. I thought it was. Was it before?
I thought that just happened this week, last week.
I thought it was the day after.
Yeah, Paolo was out. Did not have any minutes on the game for that one. So there was also that. So there's a lot of question marks potentially about this undefeated start for the Cavs. But nonetheless, Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland looks like he's become that point guard that they've really needed.
That's the difference. Because if you remember, I came back from Cleveland this summer after attending, I think it was Game 4 of the Eastern Conference semifinals against Boston, screaming and yelling that Darius Garland couldn't make a shot, and because that was one of the games where they didn't have Donovan Mitchell. Now, of course, he's going to be better with Donovan Mitchell on the floor. I want to see him because there may be a time that comes when Donovan can't play or doesn't play or is hurt. I want to see Darius continue to play like this when Donovan Mitchell's not out there with him. That's going to be the key for me. But right now, you're right. He is absolutely he was looking like playing like an all-star. Evan Mobley is that much better, I think, than he was last year for this team. They've got a lot of fun pieces. And what's his name? And is it Strus? Max Strus is not even playing right now.
Strus. So. Yeah, I mean, Garland has been a 20-point scorer 4 consecutive years. I mean, that guy's been a baller since he was a rookie. His issue and Mobley's issue, DK, is just getting healthy, staying healthy. Those guys, you look at Garland's numbers, 59, 54, 68, 69, 57. So, I mean, he's not finishing a lot of seasons. He's never even played 70 games in a season. And Mobley had, unfortunately, missed most of last year, right? I mean, and Mobley is such a force out there and you should have one of the best offenses and best defenses in the league with that front court. So as long as they're healthy, I mean, that's always been a solid squad.
Yeah.
A little young, but I mean, as far as on paper, with Mitchell there, at the helm, that's a dangerous team if they're healthy. Speaking of injuries, Aaron Gordon is going to be out multiple weeks with a right calf strain. Suffered that injury last night in the Nuggets win over Toronto. And they're off to a 4-3 start, so that's tough. He just got the new deal, 4-year, $133 million extension. But Aaron Gordon going to miss some time with that right calf strain. Also, Embiid got suspended today.
Yes, he did.
3 games.
Don't be messing around with us. Don't be messing around with us.
I didn't read the article. Apparently, somebody was writing some stuff about his sibling who passed. And
the article that it specifically mentions it talked a little bit about how a relative of Joel Embiid's looked up to him and his toughness. But this is also coming off of the following his, coming off. I'm not going to play back-to-backs anymore. I'm going to sit out the first 2 weeks of the season to rest my knee injury and things like that. It wasn't anything derogative towards the a relative who passed away. It was just that it was a reference to something that they looked up to Joel for. But because the relative came up, I mean, it's very similar to the situation with DeMarcus Cousins' relative when he was in Sacramento. Someone mentioned something about a relative of DeMarcus Cousins who was in the G League. They were very critical about his performance.
Why did you pick the most apt person who's also 6'11" and also is likely to put hands on a reporter?
Because there's a video about that incident itself. We don't have video of this incident with Joel, but there is video of DeMarcus getting into that reporter's face.
There's a lot of video of DeMarcus getting into people's faces. Yeah,
but it's something similar to that I could think of with relatives being mentioned in a paper that someone didn't take too kindly to. So Joel, 3-game suspension without pay. This one is going to be interesting to see how that goes on, particularly after he had the whole profanity-laced retort to people criticizing him and taking the time off to rest his injury, saying, for all I've done to the city, I don't deserve to have been booed by people, even though I don't think anyone noticed that 76ers game after the Suns won it. He was doing one-on-ones with Bradley Beal after the game.
They appear to be very close.
Yes.
Yeah, also Paul George is back, so that's good.
Yeah, they got that. They got that going right now.
520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. I have got a sweet deal for you coming up this Friday, 8:30 a.m. That's when I hand out the sweet deals. WildcatsRadio1290.com. It's for Jamba, a $50 gift certificate for just $25. Jamba has officially opened its new drive-thru at Grant Road, west of Tanque Verde. Dive into their delicious, healthy menu featuring vibrant smoothie bowls packed with nutrients, refreshing smoothies blended to perfection, and fresh pressed juices bursting with flavor. Download their Jamba app and get 50% off of your first smoothie. There are a number of Jamba locations. Wetmore and Oracle, that's our neighborhood, right down the street here in the CNWT, Campbell and Glen, and now this new drive-thru on Grant and Tanque Verde. They're just Jamba now because they offer more than just juice. Remember, it was Jamba Juice. Mm-hmm. Now it's just Jamba.
I remember.
Because you can get
very popular
all
spot
kinds
in Flagstaff back in the
smoothies and nutrients and all that. So we dropped the juice, and now it's just Jamba. But I got a sweet deal to Jamba. $50 gift certificate, just $25. 8:30 a.m. Friday, WildcatsRadio1290.com. All right, I was talking about getting to sit down to vote today.
You tried to talk about
I tried to talk about that, yeah. So I get there, and so I see the table, and I was like, okay, well, she's like, I go, can I go sit at the table? She's like, oh, yeah, go sit at the table. Lady, sweet lady, recognize me. Oh, the sports TV guy. Yeah, see, everybody thinks I'm still on TV here. I've been off TV for over a year and a half. So I go and sit down. I kind of felt a little bit bad because, you know, I'm sure that's like for the people that are actually older than me.
Right.
but it really hardly was, there was nobody in there. Like, it wasn't like I was
It's like
taking,
the 25-year-old you see rolling around in the mechanized cart in the grocery store.
It's
It's like, come on, bro. What are you doing?
It's like I wasn't taking a seat from some little old lady or anything like that because there was only like maybe 3 other people in there. Like, literally, there was nobody in there. Now, because like I mentioned, I stayed a while because I was doing my research that I didn't do before I went. And as I was about to leave, there was more people coming in. So, but yeah, I was like kind of sitting there. And I was like, this is how you got to vote, you know. So my wife makes fun of me. She's like, well, if you voted by mail, you could just sit on your couch and do your ballot, or sit at the table in a comfortable chair and do your ballot, and you wouldn't have to complain about having to bend over and throw out your back trying to take part in the American democracy. But yeah, so I sat down.
But you want that smell of the voting.
Exactly. I want that smell of the voting facility there, and they had cookies. Well, they don't give us any of the cookies, but they had cookies back there. It smelled really good. I wanted to go back there and get one, but I might have gotten in trouble. So the other reason I wanted to vote in the morning versus waiting till the afternoon was because like this flimsy little driver's license that they give us now in Arizona, like my driver's license like cracked during the summer, so I have like this half cracked driver's license.
That's the rub.
And I was like, I hope that they don't like I hope they don't like run my driver's license through some like machine, and then my driver's license, because it's cracked, comes back like faulty and I can't vote because I don't have
I remember when they
real
made the
driver's
change
license.
in Arizona where you could have your driver's license good for 50 years, 40, 50 years.
That was when I first got here.
Right. And
Yeah.
before that, the driver's licenses were much sturdier. And then you get the 40 years, it's good for 40 years. Now they're a little, but you got to go back in and get a replacement every once in a while.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And then my mother stole my wallet over the weekend, so I was like,
You didn't get her a good enough birthday present? What, just taking your wallet? You going to go buy yourself something? What's going on?
Well, so I went over. So after the game on Saturday, I went over to my mom's. It was her birthday, her 89th birthday. Happy birthday again, Mom. We're taking her out to downtown. If you see us out downtown tomorrow, we're taking her out to see jazz at the Century Room. Great place.
Hey, it's that TV guy's mom.
Yeah, exactly. So I go over to my mom's, and apparently we have I don't really have a wallet. It's really more like a money holder, a card holder kind of thing. And so
Like
apparently
C&B stuff.
mine looks like hers. And so she picked mine up and put it in her purse. And so I wake up Sunday morning and I'm like, well, where's my wallet at? I knew I had it when I went into the store last night. It's I can't find my wallet. We had to go somewhere Sunday. We had an event we had to go to, and I'm calling Safeway. It's do you have my wallet? The guy's like, no. And now I'm starting to freak out because I was like, man, I'm going to have to go get a new driver's license in order to vote on Tuesday.
It's the worst.
Come to find out, it was just Mom. Mom had taken my wallet thinking it was hers. So it all worked out, though. It all worked out today.
I hope Mama Kelly got her something nice.
She did. She always gets something nice. Absolutely. She is, like the card said, I am who I am because of my mama. So she is a great, great lady.
So have you swiped anybody else's wallet?
No. I have not swiped anybody else's wallet. No, thank you. No, thank you. All right, 520-848-1290. If you want to talk about how you prefer to vote, if you want to vote in person, if you prefer to vote by mail, if you're a ballot drop box type of person where you actually like to go and vote in your living room, but then go and drop your ballot in a box. What's the easiest? What's your preferred method? And should Election Day be a national holiday? I think that's going to be our question of the day. We haven't put one up yet, but we'll go ahead and get that up there. Should Election Day be a national holiday? We'll see how folks respond to that. Cricket, though, right now is getting you home every 20 minutes on the fives with your traffic and your weather.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. Collisions reported Swan and Glen at Glen and Swan. Alvernon near Speedway on Alvernon to the north of Speedway Boulevard. Also clearing Wilmot and Speedway Boulevard in Wilmot. And for your weather, looking at lows near 50 overnight, the high 67 tomorrow and 70 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Audible. Get immersed in new worlds and ideas with Audible. Explore an incredible selection of audiobooks, podcasts, and originals, all in one easy app. There's more to imagine when you listen. Sign up for a free trial at audible.com.
Well, truck season is going on now at O'Reilly Chevrolet. And we happen to have a few Silverado EVs at the dealership to test drive and check out. You can thank me afterwards.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Alaskan AC has been keeping people chill since 1972.
Oh, chill. Cool. I get it. It's a theme.
No, it's not.
It's not?
The theme is 72, as in 1972.
Is that why you dress like that?
$72 for an Alaska vacation.
Ooh.
$72 for a service call.
Neat.
Even $72 off any repair.
Whoa.
This month, it's 72, 72, 72 to celebrate 1972, the year Alaskan AC opened its doors.
And everybody was kung fu fighting.
Everyone was streaking, too. Let's stick to what we do best.
That's right. A $72 Alaska vacation is the perfect way to prepare for the upcoming season. It's so good, we guarantee no breakdowns.
The $72 service call makes it easy to check any concerns.
And saving $72 off any repair means that you can buy one of those cool banana seats for your rad bike.
You have a weird definition of cool.
72, 72, 72. This month at AlaskanAC.com.
Hey, Wildcat fans, Arizona football is here. Catch head coach Brent Brennan as the Wildcats enter their inaugural season of the Big 12 Conference. We need you to be part of the action, filling the stands and cheering on Arizona. Secure your seats for all 7 home games with season tickets, or pick the plan that is best for you by calling the ticket office at 520-621-2287 or visiting ArizonaWildcats.com/FB. Lock in your tickets today. We'll see you at Arizona Stadium. Bear down. Go Cats.
DK on the Sports Tip, 3 to 6 weekdays.
Cricket, did you know that you had a World Cup?
Straight. We're going to have a super over.
Is that like soccer?
I don't understand any of it. I don't understand the terminology. I don't understand. Left-armed seamer, can you believe it or not? He caught a slip.
You don't want to catch a slip.
I don't know what any of those things.
That's not good at all.
But congrats to the USA for defeating Pakistan.
Yeah, I like the left-hand seamer, though. That sounds like a good thing.
Wildcats Radio 1290.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair.
It's November and the weather is cooling down. Now is the time to have your furnace serviced to ensure that it's operating safe and efficient. We also have a $79 garbage disposal service. And check out our monthly plumbing specials on our website. Call Pix Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing for all your plumbing and heating needs at 520-492-0748 or PixRocksCooling.com.
Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating and Plumbing.
The 90s called. They said the Gordita Supreme is so back in the new $7 Lux Cravings box from Taco Bell. It's all looking fresh to death with the pillowy 90s Gordita Supreme alongside the beefy 5-layer burrito, double stacked taco, chips with nacho cheese sauce, and medium drink. All for just $7. It's your wallet's favorite cheesy crunchy combo here for a limited time. Grab yours and relive the decades only at Taco Bell. At participating Taco Bell stores for a limited time only. While supplies last. Contact store for price and participation, which varies. Drinks excludes freezes. Tax extra.
Progressive presents good news, bad news, dumb news, then great news. Good news. A letter in your mailbox says you could save money bundling your home and auto insurance with Progressive. Bad news. You saw it after your teenager backed the car into the mailbox. Dumb news. A new mailbox, basically a box on a stick, costs up to $400. Great news. You decide to see if you could save money bundling at Progressive.com and go with paperless mail instead. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Hey homeowners, are you ready to chill out and go green? Goodfellas Air Conditioning can help. Introducing our latest lineup of energy-efficient systems featuring the new R32 refrigerant. It's cooler, greener, and better for the planet. You'll enjoy lower energy bills and a smaller carbon footprint. Not a fan of change? Goodfellas has a surplus of reliable R410 systems available. Unsure about what system you have or have questions? Give us a call for a free inspection. Goodfellas Air Conditioning, keeping it cool, keeping it green, and always keeping you comfortable.
This is Jim Rome with a Sports Minute, sponsored by Wendy's Breakfast Burrito. The team to beat in the NFC, the Detroit Lions, just got that much better. And to think, Lions fans, you were already having the time of your lives. But that doesn't mean that you don't have flaws. Brad Holmes went out and got the best edge rusher available. Yes, I buried the lead. Za'Darius Smith from the Browns is now a member of the Lions. I'm Jim Rome.
Wendy's Breakfast Burrito has an entire breakfast in every bite. Fresh cracked eggs, seasoned potatoes, American cheese, cheese sauce, and sausage or bacon. So the first bite is like fresh American cheese sauce. Bacon. And the second bite is like fresh American cheese sauce. Bacon. You get the idea. And now, get yours with $1 any size soft drink. Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Exclusions apply.
All right, gentlemen, this is Emmett Smith on behalf of Depend, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing catch. Because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable, and one blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, Depend is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, Depend is donating 40 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for Depend Shield Guards Real Fit products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $300,000 void in Mississippi.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. You can call us at that number. You can text us at that number. The sports world here in southern Arizona lost one of its giants this past weekend with the passing of a legendary Arizona Wildcats pitching coach, Jim Wing. And we're pleased to be joined now by his longtime compadre on staff under Jerry Kendall at the University of Arizona, Jerry Stitt. Coach Stitt joining us now. Coach, we appreciate you taking a few moments. Our condolences, obviously, to you on the death of your longtime friend, Jim Wing. When did you first meet Coach Wing?
Well, thanks, David. I appreciate that. It's been a long relationship. We met when I started coaching at South Point, 1970, and he was the coach at Palo Verde High School, and we collaborated with Warren Rustan to create something called it was a camp for football, basketball, and baseball. And what Warren did was get top each one of the sports. And so Coach Wing and I ended up being part of the staff for baseball. And I'd known him from when we played each other, but it was kind of a casual relationship because he was a legendary coach and I was a rookie, and it was my first year, but we got to know each other at it was called Pros in Action sports camps, and the baseball part was at South Point, and so we got to know each other pretty well and spending pretty much all day, twice a day for 2 weeks. And so it just kind of blossomed from there. And we did pretty well at South Point. We were rough the first few years, but got a lot better. And, our guys could hit. And so when the hitting coach for the Wildcats, resigned to go home I think he was from Kansas. He was going to go home and work for his dad. Coach Wing told J.K. that he just said, you just have to hire Jerry Stitt. Our guys will definitely hit if you hire him. So, and then we coached together 18 years and been friends ever since. And his beautiful wife, Bess, and his 3 kids, and just a great relationship over the years.
What's interesting about your story and his, as you mentioned, you were coaching at South Point. He'd won a state title as a coach at Tucson High and coached at Palo Verde. Both of you coached baseball on the high school level here before ascending to coach at the U of A. Was when you were a high school coach, was that something you had thought about wanting to do? Thought that was a path that you could take to go from high school coaching to being able to coach at the collegiate level?
It never much crossed my mind to go to collegiate level, really. I when I finished my very brief and forgettable professional career, I came back and was a graduate assistant for Coach Sansett, and he encouraged me to start coaching in high school, and he helped me get the job at South Point. I wasn't near ready for a head coaching job, but I took it over, and like I say, we did pretty well. And I never really thought much about. And I worked the camps at the U of A, I love going to the games, but the thought of going over there was so remote that, it was like, I'll just keep grinding it out here and doing good and having fun and developing. And when it opened, it was like, how fast can I get there,
We're chatting with Jerry Stitt, longtime baseball coach here in Southern Arizona, worked with Coach Jim Wing for, as he said, 18 years over at the U of A. What were the core principles of his philosophy when it came to teaching pitching?
Well, the one thing that he obviously pounded more than anything else was just command. And, there's a difference between control and command, and they constantly worked to make sure that back then it was pitch to contact. Now it's pitch to swing and miss. But back then it was pitch to contact, and that was his very first thing is you're going to throw strikes and you're going to get contact. You're going to rely on the good defense that Coach Kendall has recruited, and we pretty much prospered that way, and it wasn't and you hear about spin rate now, and we talk about Coach was talking spin back in the early '80s, that and guys would the pitching staff would get on one knee and toss into a net 5 feet away and just work on spin, and so it's translated a lot to a whole different level, but that's what he did, but it was all command.
Why do you think we've gone away from that philosophy of pitch to contact to pitch to get swings and misses?
Well, I think one of the things that we love about strikeouts is that there's no chance of a guy getting on base. If he walks, he's on base. If he hits the ball, there's a chance, especially at high school, that somebody's going to. If they catch it, they might throw it away, or they might not get to it, and the hitter's on base. In college, and especially in the pros, it's strikeouts, and we've all seen the power arms, as they call it, that 100 miles an hour, that's ridiculous, and the scientists proved they proved that it's impossible for a human being to hit a 100-mile-an-hour fastball from 60 feet 6 inches. Well, we know it's not impossible. It's highly improbable, but guys can do it, and it's just so exceptional that the power arms are it's guiding the strikeout now. So.
They're opening. Obviously, they're going to be opening up the new pitching wing over at High Corbett Field for U of A, and it's going to bear his name. Had you talked to him about that? What were his thoughts about having the honor of that, of having the pitching lab that they're putting together over there named after him?
Yeah. Well, it is pretty spectacular. I would encourage anybody that was really interested. I'm sure that Coach Vance, the pitching coach, would love to show it off, and I hope he has an open house. But when they're first developing it, I told Coach Wing that, we're getting a pitching lab, and told him all the different things that were going to be in it. And that's got to cost a fortune. I said, fortunately, we have a Wildcat that's donated an enormous amount of money for the base, and so we're going to have one. And so as time went on, Chip was thinking about what we were going to call it, and so I had been lobbying to get the bullpen, a bench or something, named for Coach Wing in the bullpen, and he says, "Well, I think we're going to call it the pitching wing after Coach Wing," and I thought that was a great idea. So I went over, and Scott Overland, who was on the 4 years here. Last year was my first year on the staff. We've been great friends, and he and I have gone to see Coach Wing pretty much weekly for all these years. And we went over, and I was talking about the pitching lab. I said, what, Chip's going to name it after you. And he says, I don't deserve that. And that is Coach Wing to a T. I don't deserve that. I said, Coach, if anybody deserves it, and it's you. And so when it was finished, they hadn't got all the graphics up with his name and his picture and all that, and it's in the Francona Center. So Scott Overland and I got him over there, got him in a wheelchair, got him into the lab, and this was I'd say only about a month or 6 weeks ago that we got in there, and Coach Vance showed us all the ins and outs and how spectacular it really is. And Coach was as happy as he could be, talking at the top of his game, watching the videos, asking why a guy's front side was opening too soon, typical things that he would notice. And it was just a great, great, great day. So,
Coach Jerry Stitt joining us. Coach, why did players love him so much?
John T. Jack, who I think you remember Johnny T. He's one of my favorite Wildcats, and his saying is if you didn't fall in love with Coach Wing a minute after you met him, there was something wrong with you. And that is true. The guys just loved him, and I don't think the word charismatic quite fits Coach Wing. It's something different. It's just a feel that he has for people, and how he always treated the kids. They're just kids, but they're young men growing into men, and he just treated them so well, as we all did. But he was exceptional at that, and I've been hearing that for all day yesterday and all day today, in the texts and the phone calls I've been getting, the remembrances about Coach Kendall, and when he hired Coach Wing, and one of the best things J.K. ever did was hire wingers. So the players' outpouring of emotion and remembrances, everybody has a story about Coach Wing, and a lot of them are pretty funny, I'm telling you. But that's why he you could tell that he cared so much about you as a player, and not whether you were good or could hit or pitch or run the bases, but what kind of character you had, what kind of human being you were, and that was the development that we all tried to work on with the Wildcats.
Well, Coach, we're all much better here in Southern Arizona for having the trio of you and Coach Kendall and Coach Wing having led this baseball program at the University of Arizona for 18 years. I mean, I've said this to more than one person. I don't know if we'll ever see a situation like that again, where you have a coaching staff that's together through an entire generation like that. But we thank you for being a part of that as well. And again, our condolences to you on the death of your longtime friend. And we look forward to seeing you again soon. And we appreciate you taking some time to join us today.
Anytime, David. I appreciate it. And I just want to say we lost a great one.
Absolutely, we did. Thank you, Coach Stitt. Jerry Stitt, longtime baseball coach here at the University of Arizona, Pima College. You heard there, South Point Catholic. That is amazing. I mean, you think about the way that coaching goes today. That two guys that were coaching high school baseball here in Southern Arizona were able to ascend to the college level and be together coaching the Wildcats for 18 years. And I think all of you out there that are calling for the firing of Brent Brennan need to take a look at that and what coaches like that and legacies like that can mean to a community and can mean to athletes that come through here to wear the Cardinal and Navy and can say that they were a part of that type of legacy. And that's what we're looking for here, I think, in all of our programs. And we've had that in a number of programs. We've had that in basketball with Lute Olson. We've had that in volleyball with Dave Rubio. We've had that in track and field with Fred Harvey. We've had that in softball with Mike Candrea. And I think we need to do a full stop because we can have that in football. And I think we can have that with a guy like Brent Brennan who loves Tucson and who cares about this community and who wants to be a part of this community. But you just got to have patience. And I think that too many of you out there are too quick to want to pull the trigger on things when they go bad. And we need to get ourselves out of that type of mentality. DK on the sports tip. Hour number 1 in the books. We're way over, but Dragon Ball is going to tell you everything that's happening around sports here in Southern Arizona and around the world.
Wildcats Radio 1290. 2020 Sports.
Arizona men's basketball opened up the season with a strong win over Canisius. Big man did return. Mo Krivas was on the court, 9 points in 10 minutes off the bench, but freshman big man Emmanuel Stephan did not dress for the opener. And when asked if the program has made a decision on redshirting the 7-footer, Tommy Lloyd said that all the options are still out there on the table.
We haven't made a decision. I think we're still talking. That's not an easy decision, sometimes for young men to make. They've been playing their whole lives and they're excited to be here. And then, it's my job to kind of help him see reality and think of the big picture a little bit and also think the big picture for the program as well. I mean, just right now, I'm telling you, he's done a great job. He's made a lot of progress. He just got some guys ahead of him. And, but every one of those bigs that are playing now, at some point they had someone ahead of them in the program. That's just kind of how college basketball works.
And besides Big Mo, again, you got to look at the people in front of Emmanuel Stephan there. You got Henry Vasar, Toby Awaka, and Trey Townsend all saw major minutes. Awaka and Townsend both starting in the front court last night for the Cats. And on top of that, the Wildcats women managed to go ahead and come away with a win over UT Arlington. 4 players for Adia Barnes' squad scored in double figures. The big game from Brea Cunningham. She finished the night with a double-double on 10 rebounds on the day. The team shot for 40% in their opener. And out in Florida, it looked like the Buccaneers had a chance to help the 72 Dolphins pop the champagne early, but they only managed to force overtime as the 2-time reigning champion Chiefs managed to get the ball in the extra period, made the most of it on their first drive.
Mahomes will break huddle. Hunt in the backfield. Offset eye with Carson Steele. 3 tight ends. Touchdown wins it. Mahomes under center. Gets the snap. Spins. Hunt got the block. Running over the right guard. Touchdown Chiefs. They win it in overtime. 30-24.
Again, the Chiefs stay unbeaten with that win atop the seed at the AFC. We'll give you your trade deadline updates here in the next hour. I'm Dragon Ball with your 2020 sports update here on Wildcats Radio 1290.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic. And collisions that are reported, Orange Grove in First Avenue in Orange Grove, Swan and Glen, and also Alvernon to the north of Speedway Boulevard. Backups on southbound La Cholla at Ahoway, also slowing for Ahoway and Mission. Our lows near 50 overnight tonight, 67 the high tomorrow, and 70 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance can protect your small business with over 30 coverage options, an easy-to-use mobile app, personalized discounts, and more. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Discounts and coverage selections not available in all states or situations.
Alaskan AC has been keeping people chill since 1972.
Oh, chill. Cool. I get it. It's a theme.
No, it's not.
It's not?
The theme is 72, as in 1972.
Is that why you dress like that?
$72 for an Alaska vacation.
Ooh.
$72 for a service call.
Neat.
Even $72 off any repair.
Whoa.
This month, it's 72, 72, 72 to celebrate 1972, the year Alaskan AC opened its doors.
And everybody was kung fu fighting.
Everyone was streaking, too. Let's stick to what we do best.
That's right. A $72 Alaska vacation is the perfect perfect way to prepare for the upcoming season. It's so good, we guarantee no breakdowns.
The $72 service call makes it easy to check any concerns.
And saving $72 off any repair means that you can buy one of those cool banana seats for your rad bike.
You have a weird definition of cool.
72, 72, 72. This month at AlaskanAC.com.
If you have a Wildcats license plate on your car, 1290 is your radio station. Because we love the Wildcats as much as you do. This is the home of the Arizona Wildcats. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Year after year, Lerner Rowe is voted best personal injury law firm in Arizona. You may wonder why. The answer is quite simple. Lerner Rowe is so popular because we give every client excellent service and a superior experience. But also the main reason is results. We've recovered billions of dollars for our clients with over $1 billion collected in the last 5 years alone. Our phone lines are always open and our legal team is standing by right now, waiting for your call.
Lerner & Rowe is the way to go. Call 977-1900.
Hi, you know me, Scott Lehman from ScottSaysYes.com. Check out this month's Wildcats Radio 1290 Community Calendar powered by Premier Auto Center.
Visit the Wildcats Radio 1290 Community Calendar at wildcatsradio1290.com to find out what community events are coming up in the Tucson area. You can also find Wildcats Radio 1290 events, upcoming sporting events, and more. Get the details and get involved with our community at wildcatsradio1290.com.
Go to ScottSaysYes.com today.
Hey homeowners, are you ready to chill out and go green? Goodfellas Air Conditioning can help. Introducing our latest lineup of energy-efficient systems featuring the new R32 refrigerant. It's cooler, greener, and better for the planet. You'll enjoy lower energy bills and a smaller carbon footprint. Not a fan of change? Goodfellas has a surplus of reliable R410 systems available. Unsure about what system you have or have questions? Give us a call for a free inspection. Goodfellas Air Conditioning, keeping it cool, keeping it green, and always keeping you comfortable.
KZUB Tucson, a Cumulus Media Station. The one and only home of Arizona football. Pre- and post-game coverage, play-by-play, and live press conferences. We are Wildcats Radio 1290.
Get ready, Tucson. Jamba has officially opened its new drive-thru at Grant Road, west of Tango Verde. Dive into our delicious, healthy menu featuring vibrant smoothie bowls packed with nutrients, refreshing smoothies blended to perfection, and fresh pressed juices bursting with flavor. Download our Jamba app and get 50% off your first smoothie, whether you're fueling up for the day or winding down. Swing by today and taste the Jamba difference. Jamba, now 3 locations, north at Wetmore, central at Campbell Avenue, and our new drive-thru on Grant Road, where healthy meets delicious.
That's right. They're just Jamba now because they offer more than just juice. Stop by one of their 3 convenient locations today, including the newest one on Grant west of Tango Verde, which includes a convenient drive-thru for those grab-and-go kind of days.
And this Friday, we've got a sweet deal for you from Jamba. You could get a $50 gift certificate for just $25. And this sweet deal will go on sale this Friday morning at 8:30 at wildcatsradio1290.com.
Live from the CNWT.
Wait, what's the CNWT?
Central Northwest Tucson. Duh.
It's DK on the Sports Tip with your host, David Kelly.
Radio. Just when I thought I was out, they drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
David Amata.
Hey, that's Dragon Ball to you.
And Cricket getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but 3 first names, David Scott Kelly.
Hour number 2 of the program on this election day in America. Still plenty of time here on the mountain time of the world to get out and vote. Still about 3 hours to go. Ballots will be closing in the east in about, or I should say polling stations will be closing in about an hour in the east. We're watching some TV right now. Long lines in big cities. That's kind of people getting off work and trying to be a part of this democratic process. And that line looks really long. So those people might be waiting for a little long to vote there. It looks like Philadelphia right now. I got folks obviously there, a city that a large part of my family lives in. What a great conversation we just had with Jerry Stitt, the longtime hitting coach for the University of Arizona under Jerry Kendall, talking about the death of his compadre, Jim Wing, who passed away over the weekend at the age of 88. Never got a chance to meet Jim Wing. I've been here 17 years. Did obviously get a chance to meet and talk to Jerry Kendall on a number of stations. I've known Coach Stitt pretty much the entire time and that I've been here in Southern Arizona, but never got a chance to meet Jim Wing, but have heard just unbelievable things about him. And again, the fact that these guys were together for 18 years on the coaching staff at the University of Arizona is a testament. And guys, it's sad that those days are gone. It seems like at not only the University of Arizona, and who knows? I mean, like I said, we've had some tremendous runs with coaches here at this university, and we may. You know, I mean, Caitlin Lowe could be the softball coach here for another 20 years. You know, you've got Tarita Stupp. She could be the volleyball coach here for another 20 years. You never know. They're young in their tenures, and I hate to use. I've used it before. Dragon Ball will love this. I hate to use the Pittsburgh Steelers as an example for anything.
5 coaches, right? Something
Yeah.
like that.
What is it? 5 coaches and like
3
what?
coaches since 1969.
Since
But total, like they have,
1969.
In total, it goes a bit more because when you go back to like the days where it was like they were merging with the Eagles because of the war,
right.
so you have the Steagles.
3
and
since
stuff.
1964,
Yeah,
though.
3 since 1969
3
with
coaches.
Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and Mike Tomlin.
Since 1969. I mean, a picture of continuity. There's a reason why the Pittsburgh Steelers franchise is one of the best franchises in professional sports because they hire their people and they let their people do their jobs.
You know what's really ironic, guys, is that we were just talking about Milwaukee and we were just talking about Doc Rivers. So last year, Adrian Griffiths was fired with a 30-14 record.
Right.
The second best record at the time. He was fired as the coach of the Bucs. Since then, Doc Rivers is 19-26 as the head coach. 30-13 was their record before Adrian Griffith was fired. The grass is not always greener.
No, it is not always greener. And you see a lot of franchises, a lot of programs that do a lot of that changing around of the guard in regards to the head coach or the front office staff or, you know, people in charge of recruitment and things like that for certain programs. And I mean, there was a point in time where we couldn't figure out in college football how long was it going to be before someone was going to take the job in Miami to be the athletic director, because there were like 4 or 5 within the course of a decade or so because of all the things that were going on with the program during their pay to play and the booster scandal and everything else like that. And we saw a great prominent program in Miami go to the doldrums of where they were prior to Schnellenberger taking over that program. So it pays to be consistent, but it doesn't pay to be consistent when it's maybe it's time to move on and look for something different. You were talking about the Steelers. Let's not forget, Matt Canada was the offensive coordinator for the Steelers for about 3 years. In 3 years' time, Matt Canada had produced about 4 games of 30 or more points during his time with the franchise. There are times where being loyal and waiting to see how something develops can be to your detriment. So sometimes it pays to make a quick trigger. Other times it pays to wait. It just happens to be sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong with those decisions.
Absolutely. But again, they have been, and again, they're very consistent with their top leadership positions. Yeah, if you have to make down assistant changes.
These bathrooms are not clean enough. We got to get rid of that bathroom guy.
Right. That's what you have to do. But there's something to be said about consistency. There's a reason that Utah went into this season in a new conference as the team that most people thought was going to be the best, because they've got a coach that's been there for a long time and has built that success. And I think sometimes here we look at ourselves a lot as a lot higher, on a lot higher level than we probably need to be looking at ourselves, especially when it pertains to football.
And especially,
which has had how many 10-win seasons in the last
5.
50 years? Yeah, 5 10-win seasons.
Especially under the circumstances, this is not a vacuum here, okay? So the head coach left. There was a 30-day transfer window, right? New coach came in. That's not a normal standard process. Number one, it takes time for coaches to get into living rooms and get guys as sophomores and juniors. We all know that. But this particular cycle, guys, was a little rough. So, I mean, anybody out there barking about personnel, I mean, there wasn't a standard offseason even because of the way all those numbers worked and because of the timing of it all. So, yeah, just settle down, everybody.
And to go on to what you were saying, DK, about how many 10-win seasons has this program had, I can give you the number because I looked it up after seeing everybody going nuts about it. Since the turn of the century, you have two. You have two 10-win seasons, two seasons of double-digit wins since the year 2000. That was in 2014 with Rich Rodriguez, where they lost in the Fiesta Bowl, and then last season where they won the Alamo Bowl. It's not a common thing to see a 10-win U of A football team, but when it does happen, suddenly everyone wants to imagine that's the turn, the turning to something greater than what we hope. I mean, let's not forget, Nick Saban's first season at Alabama, he only won 4 games.
Right.
But all of a sudden, after getting to the first 10-win season or whatever the case was, everyone's like, oh, now it's time. This is when it's going to come back. Not everybody is Nick Saban in Alabama, folks.
He also got fired right before that, too.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we're joined by the fourth member of our program, Cricket. Okay, so we were talking in the first hour about, obviously, it's Election Day here in the United States. I like to vote in person on Election Day. That's my thing. I'm a traditionalist. These two characters over here, they're early ballot voters. What say you? What do you like to do?
What did you call them again?
These two
Well,
characters.
I'm with these two characters. I'm with these two
You're an early
characters.
voter too.
Yes,
Why
sir.
do you like to vote early?
I just didn't want to deal with it. I do want to deal with it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I want to know what I'm voting for, but I just didn't want the headache at the polls, and I don't know. I don't know.
DK really likes the tables they got.
Yeah, they had a table now because I don't like the voting booth because I have to bend over, and if I'm like, and there's like 20, there were like 20 things we had to vote on today, and like you're like bending over, my back, during the primary, like my back started hurting. I'm like, man, like I kept having to stand up and stretch my back out and all that. So there was a table, so I went and sat down at the table today, but I felt a little bit bad because that's probably for the people that are actually older than me.
Okay.
DK took like the table for
But there
people
was
who are
nobody
physically
there.
impaired.
I was like, because there was hardly anybody there when I went around 10 a.m. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to sit at the table and be comfortable while I cast my ballot. Okay, should Election Day be a national holiday?
Oh, well, businesses wouldn't like that. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe it should be. I don't know.
You know
what's funny? Do you guys know why it's on Tuesday, November?
I know I've heard this before.
It has to do with farming at the turn of the century because farmers, they were in between crops. So, like, this wasn't a time you were going to be super busy in the fields and on a Tuesday. So that was the literal reason why we vote on Tuesdays in November is because of farmers. And now robots do all that stuff, right?
So that's our question of the day today at Wildcats 1290. Should Election Day be a national holiday? Right now, 86% of the voters saying yes.
It'd be cool.
Election Day should be a national holiday.
I think there's obviously like workers who are you don't want your emergency surgeons and your ambulance drivers and police and such. But I think the university, we talked about it, Cricket, how the university closed down last election cycle 4 years ago to let students have a chance to vote.
Have all the time to do it.
Exactly. But then we had kids on campus that were complaining about having to walk across the street and vote at a church this year. I'm like, it's across the street.
Man.
It's not, you walk to dirt bags, which is probably further than the church that you have to go and vote to, and you're complaining?
Hey, 20-year-olds now and 20-year-olds back then when we were 20, it's the same. You just complain about whatever you can.
Gosh, these kids today. Oh, my
kids,
Lord.
these whippersnappers.
Whippersnappers. These characters.
These characters.
Okay. All right. I don't want to put you guys in the characters with the kids. All right. Cricket's getting you home or getting you to your polling place.
Yes.
What's the traffic look like out there on Election Day?
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. Some usual slowdowns at Ahaway and Mission. Also busy for you on southbound La Choya at Ahaway. Collisions that are reported at Oracle and Suffolk. In the foothills at Campbell and Skyline to the southeast. Valencia east of Houghton, and some earlier wrecks that are clearing. You might still have some slowdowns on Alvernon north of Speedway, Swan and Glen, and also Orange Grove and First Avenue. Lows overnight near 50, the high 67 tomorrow and 70 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance flexes to fit your business's needs. From quick repairs to adjustable coverages and even payment options, Progressive Commercial makes it easy to get what you need. Quote today in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
What makes 1290 different than any other radio station in Tucson? 1290 is the home of the Arizona Wildcats, the NFL, and the Super Bowl. Winner! This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
You hear it all the time. Lawyers talk about all their experience, many years of experience with insurance companies, and experience in the courtroom. But what they're not talking about is their results. Maybe they don't have any. At Lerner & Rowe, we're proud of our results because that's how we measure our success. We've helped over 150,000 people recover billions of dollars for their injuries, with over $1 billion just in the last 5 years alone. When you want results, call Lerner & Rowe.
Lerner & Rowe is the way to go. Call 977-1900.
Tune into Wildcats Radio 1290 weekly for Brett Brennan's football press conference, where you can catch up on all things Arizona football this season. Sponsored by Coors Light. Choose chill. Official corporate sponsor of Arizona Athletics.
Back to Eugene Snarkle, rising UberTube star, and his best friend, Doug.
Eugene, you've been working on my car's brakes for 3 days now. Is there a problem? And what's with all the orange stuff on your t-shirt?
Research, Doug.
The orange stuff is research?
No, I'm doing research for my next UberTube video on fixing brakes. I need the Chizo snack food to power my 72-hour video binges. It gets a little messy, but I'm willing to make the sacrifice.
It looks like the only sacrifice is my car, and maybe that white t-shirt covered in Chizo dust.
So, can you hand me that metal thingy?
You mean this wrench?
Well, if that's what you want to call it.
Eugene, I need my keys. I'm heading to Jack Furrier's.
Great choice, Doug. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care is the right choice for quality brake service and complete automotive care. You can stop in, call ahead, or make an appointment online at jackfurriers.com. Our 14 area locations are ready to help with fast, friendly service and great prices. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Since 1960, we're here to get you there.
Get ready, Tucson. Jamba has officially opened its new drive-thru at Grant Road, west of Tango Verde. Dive into our delicious healthy menu featuring vibrant smoothie bowls packed with nutrients, refreshing smoothies blended to perfection, and fresh pressed juices bursting with flavor. Download our Jamba app and get 50% off your first smoothie, whether you're fueling up for the day or winding down. Swing by today and taste the Jamba difference. Jamba, now 3 locations, north at Wetmore, central at Campbell Avenue, and our new drive-thru on Grant Road, where healthy meets delicious.
That's right. They're just Jamba now because they offer more than just juice. Stop by one of their 3 convenient locations today, including the newest one on Grant west of Tango Verde, which includes a convenient drive-thru for those grab-and-go kind of days.
And this Friday, we've got a sweet deal for you from Jamba. You could get a $50 gift certificate for just $25. And this sweet deal will go on sale this Friday morning at 8:30 at wildcatsradio1290.com.
Alaskan AC has been keeping people chill since 1972.
Oh, chill. Cool. I get it. It's a theme.
No, it's not.
It's not?
The theme is 72, as in 1972.
Is that why you dress like that?
$72 for an Alaska vacation.
Ooh.
$72 for a service call.
Neat.
Even $72 off any repair.
Whoa.
This month, it's 72, 72, 72 to celebrate 1972, the year Alaskan AC opened its doors.
And everybody was kung fu fighting.
Everyone was streaking, too. Let's stick to what we do best.
That's right. A $72 Alaska vacation is the perfect way to prepare for the upcoming season. It's so good, we guarantee no breakdowns.
The $72 service call makes it easy to check any concerns.
And saving $72 off any repair means that you can buy one of those cool banana seats for your rad bike.
You have a weird definition of cool.
72, 72, 72. This month at AlaskanAC.com.
Remember, you can hear all the action of Arizona men's basketball this season with Brian Jeffries on Amazon's Alexa by saying,
Alexa, play Wildcats Radio 1290.
The only place to hear Arizona men's basketball is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code SCORE for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code SCORE for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code SCORE.
You can't buy a best friend. You can love them, walk them, pet them, and care for them, whether they want you to or not. You can take a picture or 50. You can fly to the moon, travel the world, or just stay in bed. You can't buy a best friend like that, but you can adopt one. There are millions of pets waiting for a best friend just like you. Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
Out here in the middle of these acres, it can feel like you're the only person on Earth. That's how it feels when you're struggling with your mental health. But you don't have to feel alone. Find more information at loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. You can call us at that number. You can text us at that number. Election Day in America. Go over to our Twitter account, Wildcats1290. You can vote. Vote. Don't boo. Vote. You can vote in our poll about whether or not Election Day should be a national holiday in the United States. You can also comment on our Twitter account. You can comment about it on our Facebook page. Share your thoughts with us. Share your thoughts on our app about how you feel about whether or not we should all be able to participate in this process without trying to, find a way around work to do so. That would be a glorious thing, in my opinion. So there's always, we were talking a little bit about just the ballot process a little bit early, and there's always things on the ballot that you're going to get to that you probably don't know a whole lot about.
Is that just like any standardized test in high school?
Exactly. Exactly.
I'll come back to this one.
And for me, that thing on this particular ballot was like, apparently there were two positions within the Catalina Foothills School Board. I have had no knowledge of any of those people, who they were, or I think they're running for school board positions. But I'm not even sure. Remember exactly. There were two different positions that were on the ballot. One, there were two women running against each other. The other, there were 2 men and 2 women for 2 positions. So of course I was like, well, gosh, I'm trying to be educated, but I didn't really look into that one before I went to the polls. That's why I wanted to sit down, because I knew there were going to be some things I had to look up. So I just quickly did a cursory. I was like, well, let me see if I can find any information real quick and see if anybody stands out to me. But it's amazing that I guess the point
I'm
is...
laughing over here because basically what you described is I'm going to type this person's name into Google, and if the first 10 things that pop up are positive, then good.
There
if
you
the
go.
first 10 things are negative, then maybe not so much.
There you go. And I would imagine that probably 80% of the people that walk into the polling station, that's because you should have seen the number of people that had their phones out.
Yeah.
There was a guy sitting next to me. He was watching videos.
Yeah.
I was like, I wasn't like watching any videos or anything, but he was like watching videos about propositions and stuff. I was like, man, you should have, if you have to go to the video portion, you probably should have done that before you came out here today. But so here's like I said, there was one position where it was 2 women. I looked up the 2 women, and then I chose the one I was going to vote for. So this is a 5-minute process. But that's probably how it happens on a lot of stuff that's on the ballot on election day, where people go in there and they're like, I've got to make a decision. Like all those judges, like you can't, like, I mean, you might know something about this. I mean, there were 2 Supreme Court justices, state Supreme Court justices. You may know a little bit about them because they're at the top of the judge food chain, but there was like 20 other judges, lower like district judges, Pima County district judges, and that kind of thing.
The big problem, guys, is that a sheriff and a judge are similar in that if you know their name, it's not a good thing. You're not supposed to know.
Probably not a good
Generally,
thing.
just put your nose down and do your job, and if you're good at it, then you advance. That's generally
it's a
how that
long
works.
snapper in football. If you know the long snapper's name, it's one of 2 reasons. He's been around for 22 years, or he did something really, really bad.
Or he plays for Boise State and ran some triple reverse
something
fake
like that.
punt. Yeah.
It's like you make that football analogy. Suddenly we're much more aware of Matthew Salgado Medina, the freshman holder for the Arizona Wildcats, because Tyler Loop has missed a number of kicks lately, and it's because the holds have not been clean.
Or we know officials' names.
Exactly. Officials' names. There you go. So, yeah, so I made a decision on the 2 young ladies that were running against each other. I made a decision at about 5 minutes on that. But the other one, and this is my philosophy, it may not be your philosophy. So the other one where there were 4 people running for 2 positions, and two of them were men and 2 of them were women, I voted for the 2 women in that particular race. And here's why I did that. My philosophy in terms of school board situations is I'm always probably going to side with women being able to make better decisions about things that affect our children in the classroom than men do. And so that's my philosophy there. So I voted for the 2 women candidates in the one where there was 4 people running. 520-848-1290 if you want to get in on any of that. How you make quick decisions in the ballot station when you don't know anything about a candidate. Some people just check the box. They don't know whatever name looks best. The name on top. That's why I was told. I had a conversation in a mall once with a guy who wanted me. He was one of those like operatives, political operatives. He's like, I could get you elected just based on the fact that your last name is Kelly. He's like, that's what I do. I find people that can run for office, and then I get them elected just based on things like, oh, I can run you based on your last name is Kelly. Most people are going to think you're Irish, and they'll vote for you. Like, we literally had this conversation in the mall.
How come it's not Kelly versus Kelly versus Kelly versus Kelly versus Kelly versus Kelly?
Morgan. So wait, you just had someone randomly come up to you and start talking about.
I forget exactly the whole. We were having a conversation about something else, and then it kind of turned into politics. And
are you sure you didn't just randomly run into? Did you not run into the guy that Robert? Was it Peter Boyle that ran into you?
I think we were standing in line at Orange Julius or something.
No, I think did Peter Boyle run into you after you got done talking to Robert Redford from The Candidate in 1972 film?
There you go. Exactly. He's like, oh yeah. He's like, you're a kid. He's like, and because again, this was in Cleveland, very large Irish community. He's like, oh yeah. He's like, if you ever want to run for office, because your last name's Kelly, we could like run you. He actually broke it down how we would do it. He's like, we would run you. We would front face you in certain areas and not front face you in other areas, and just put out information in some areas and that kind of thing. And and he's like, and we could probably get you elected to a position. I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. It's very interesting to have those types of conversations with people that work in politics and know how the apparatus runs. But I was like, yeah, I have no interest in running for any type of office.
You ever had any relatives?
I don't want my all my dirty laundry out there. Say what?
Any relatives
that have ever run for office?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I've had anybody above like school board.
One of my best friends, Allie, her dad ran for mayor of Atlanta one time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she told me that was a bit of a fiasco. I had an uncle who's a judge, Superior Court judge out in Safford. He retired like 10 years ago. But that's elected, I'm almost positive.
You Dragon Ball, anybody in your family ever run for anything?
Not that I'm aware of. I think that we've all tried to stay out of politics as best as we can.
I ran at Boy State. Did you guys ever go to Boy State? Did they have Boy State here?
That I did do. I
did
that. I did that.
I almost got elected at Boy State. I got to like one of the state offices, but I lost the election.
I think I did get elected in that. I made a impassioned speech, and now everybody was like, I want to vote for this guy. I was like, I got nothing.
And again, I was pissed because I gave an intelligence speech, and the other guy went up there and told jokes. And
did like the Macarena,
exactly.
and like everybody was like, "Well, that's super in right now. Let's go vote for that person."
He got up there and told jokes, and was not serious about the process. And then he beat me by like 100 votes. I was
hey, cult of personality, right? Sometimes charm is what wins.
Well, there you go. That's another thing.
There's a reason,
personality.
There's a reason why some D&D campaigns you want to bump charisma rather than intelligence.
Sure. Personality is a large part of it in the political game. Who's got that savoir-faire? To convince people, that's the one of the gentleman that is running for president. That's why he's so popular, because he's charismatic.
The other side of that coin is there's been some guys who had to suspend their campaigns because of a simple noise they made that people didn't like. Yeah, exactly. Well, that guy's not charismatic. Let's get him out of here.
That is still one of the most famous speeches, I think, in political history. What was that guy's name? And we're going to take Iowa. We're going to take Michigan. And we're going to take Pennsylvania. And then we're going to go all the way to the White House. Ah! I think he was a Democrat.
He was the vice president going up against John McCain, not John McCain, George Bush's Dick Cheney. He was going up against Dick Cheney. It was John Kerry's vice president.
Yes.
I cannot think of it.
Do you have a favorite? We'll get into. Maybe we'll get.
This is great radio. Great
Dean.
Sports talk radio. I was trying to remember obscure politicians.
Howard Dean was the guy. Yes.
Let's maybe we should have done. I should have done this as a question of the day. What's the most memorable political line that stands out to you that you remember, like you heard in a speech or something like that? Like
that
obviously, like, well, you didn't have to live through it.
Okay, because I've got two.
Okay. Well, wait. Let's come back.
Let's come back.
Let's come back to that. DK on the sports tip. What's that one political line that you've heard at some time in your life that resonates with you? 520. We'll have that conversation here. 520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. Cricket is getting you home or to your polling place because you still have about 2.5 hours left to vote every 20 minutes on the fives with your traffic and your weather.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. Collisions reported Park Avenue near I-10 on Park Avenue to the north of I-10. Some slowing. Also reported Roger Road and Stone Avenue, Craycroft and 5th Street, Shannon and Camino de la Tierra also clearing, Campbell and Skyline, and in Oro Valley, Oracle and Suffolk. Our lows near 50 overnight, the high at 67 for tomorrow and 70 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. The slow-roasted Cantina chicken menu is here to stay with ingredients like purple cabbage and freshly prepared pico de gallo. Try it today at a participating U.S. Taco Bell location while supplies last. Contact store for participation, which varies.
Here at O'Reilly Chevrolet, we just celebrated 100 years, and it's truck season. And if that truck you've been driving around feels 100 years old, you know where to come. So see us today.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Tune into Wildcats Radio 1290 weekly for Brett Brennan's football press conference, where you can catch up on all things Arizona football this season. Sponsored by Coors Light. Choose chill. Official corporate sponsor of Arizona Athletics.
Will Indiana keep rolling as a favorite? I'm Sammy P, here to help you beat the books with BetQL. The Hoosiers spotted Michigan State 10 points and still easily covered last weekend, but the BetQL model is going to step in front of that Indiana freight train and take Michigan plus 14. It's a 4-star BetQL best bet. Are you in? I'm Sammy P. Bet smarter and beat the books. Download the BetQL and BetMGM apps today.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food. No matter what you're craving, from 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week, all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Hey homeowners, are you ready to chill out and go green? Goodfellas Air Conditioning can help. Introducing our latest lineup of energy-efficient systems featuring the new R32 refrigerant. It's cooler, greener, and better for the planet. You'll enjoy lower energy bills and a smaller carbon footprint. Not a fan of change? Goodfellas has a surplus of reliable R410 systems available. Unsure about what system you have or have questions? Give us a call for a free inspection. Goodfellas Air Conditioning, keeping it cool, keeping it green, and always keeping you comfortable.
Back to Eugene Snarkle, rising UberTube star, and his best friend, Doug.
Eugene, you've been working on my car's brakes for 3 days now. Is there a problem? And what's with all the orange stuff on your t-shirt?
Research, Doug.
The orange stuff is research?
No, I'm doing research for my next UberTube video on fixing brakes. I need the Chizo snack food to power my 72-hour video binges. It gets a little messy, but I'm willing to make the sacrifice.
It looks like the only sacrifice is my car, and maybe that white t-shirt covered in Chizo dust.
So, can you hand me that metal thingy?
You mean this wrench?
Well, if that's what you want to call it.
Eugene, I need my keys. I'm heading to Jack Furrier's.
Great choice, Doug. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care is the right choice for quality brake service and complete automotive care. You can stop in, call ahead, or make an appointment online at jackfurriers.com. Our 14 area locations are ready to help with fast, friendly service and great prices. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Since 1960, we're here to get you there.
This is an announcement to all United States vehicle owners who own a 2003 or newer vehicle with a manufacturer's warranty about to expire, or no warranty coverage at all. With a struggling economy and the cost of living on the rise, Endurance is now offering an affordable, low-cost vehicle coverage plan to the general public. As of today, you could be one of millions of drivers that now may qualify to have your vehicle protected under this coverage and have all future covered auto repairs paid directly to the repair shop for you. You pick your plan. You pick your deductible. You even pick the repair shop. Roadside service, towing, and rental coverage is included. Get your vehicle protected now and save your wallet from costly vehicle repairs. A toll-free number has been established for you to call for your free 5-minute quote and to see if you qualify. The number to call is 800-253-9043. 800-253-9043. Again, that's 800-253-9043. Coverage, deductibles, and claims may vary. For details, go to endurancewarranty.com.
This is Zach Gelb of the Sports Minute. The New Orleans Saints yesterday fired Dennis Allen. And by the end of the season, I expect the Jacksonville Jaguars to do the same to Doug Peterson. Neither the Saints nor Jaguars are marquee NFL jobs, but both of those teams need some toughness. One of those organizations should hire Brian Flores as their next head coach. Flores has done an incredible job leading the Minnesota Vikings defense and is clearly more than deserving of a second opportunity to be an NFL head coach. I'm Zach Gelb.
Robinhood is introducing forecast contracts so you can trade the presidential election. Through Robinhood, you can now trade financial derivatives contracts on who will win the U.S. presidential election, Harris or Trump, and watch as contract prices react to real-time market sentiment. Each contract you own will pay $1 on January 8, 2025 if that candidate is confirmed as the next U.S. president by Congress. Learn more about the presidential election contracts on Robinhood at Robinhood.com/election. The risk of loss in trading commodities interest can be substantial. You should therefore carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you in light of your financial condition. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Commodity interest trading is not appropriate for everyone. Displayed prices are based on real-time market sentiment. This event contract is offered by Robinhood Derivatives, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. Exchange and regulatory fees apply. Learn more at robinhood.com/election.
DK on the sports tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. You can call us at that number. You can text us at that number. You can also email the program, studio@wildcatsradio1290.com. Studio@wildcatsradio1290.com is the place to find us as well. With if you want to write something longer that doesn't fit into a text and or something else. All right, obviously it is election day in America. Polls are closing in the East, getting ready to close. 7. I think now they've extended a lot of these places to 7:30. So I think
most places, if you're in line by then you can still vote.
Yeah, you can still vote as long as you are in line before the cutoff time.
Depending on where you know the end of the line is, because where you park may not be where the end of the line is at. That is the big thing. You might have to go about 2 blocks down to get to the end of the line, depending on how some of those big city lines were looking when we were seeing it earlier in the broadcast.
Did either of you ever run for anything in school? Like student council, student government, student body president?
Yeah, but it would have been like treasurer in 6th grade or something.
Treasurer?
Like,
Okay,
yeah, nothing crazy.
There you go.
I never did.
That wasn't your thing?
I never really thought, what am I going to be able to do? I mean, there's nothing that I'm going to do with the school. They're not giving the reins of the keys over to some like 12-year-old kid if you're in high school, if you're in like middle school or something like that. So I was like, there's not really a reason to it. I'll just focus on my own education.
Keep the mountain views of Marana safe.
Don't let them take down the tree in the courtyard.
Yep.
Well, the storm saw to that, but regardless, you know.
There was a commercial I saw a couple of weeks ago. It was hilarious. It starred Dana Bash, who's one of the political correspondents on CNN, and it was 2 kids. It was totally took you back to your childhood, running for something in grade school, and the 2 kids were giving a speech, and the one kid goes, "And my opponent has cooties," and this was a young boy. He said that my opponent has cooties, and the young lady he's running against fires back, "That's a lie."
Yeah, mudslinging campaigns start early, man. They start real early.
Oh, I could not get off the floor. I was laughing so hard when I saw that commercial. Go look for that one. The political commercial, grade school political commercial starring Dana Bash.
Did you ever watch Parks and Rec?
Yes. I was never a big Parks and Rec fan.
There was a great episode
which I probably should have watched because isn't that the one? Was it Melina Kanakarides was on that? I think, and she's always been, or I think it was Melina Kanakarides was on that show, and she's always been one of my favorite actresses. So,
There's a great storyline where Leslie Knope, the main character, she's running for office, and Paul Rudd is running against her. And at the end of the campaign, she shows a clip of her when she's like 7 years old, and it's her speaking sincerely into the camera, talking about all the great things she wants to do for the city that she grew up in. And it's just it's the opposite of what you described because it's actually her. And Paul Rudd's like, "How did you get that little girl to look so much like you?" Like, no, that is me from when I was a little kid. That's actually me.
Actually, I don't think that's the show Melina Kanakarides was on. I think she was on another show I'm thinking of. But condolences to Rashida Jones, who was on that show.
Yes.
Obviously her father, Quincy Jones, legendary Quincy Jones, music producer, has passed away earlier this week. So our condolences out to Rashida and her entire family on the loss of her father. I did not know. Eldridge Rakasner, basketball player from University of Washington, is apparently married into the Jones family. He was tweeting about it as well earlier this week. So our condolences.
I love me some Rashida Jones. She's great.
She was great. She was hilarious. I watched her mostly on, what was the show from the 90s about the school? Boston Public.
Right.
She was on Boston Public. I used to love that show. I've been going through, I mentioned before, my wife is making me go through, I have all these old tapes, like all these old VHS tapes from like the 90s. And so one of the tapes I was going through had like 2 episodes of Boston Public on it. So it's fun just to go back and kind of watch stuff from the old days in the 90s and good shows like that you used to love, and good stuff there. I still have to. I haven't been in the box.
I wish you could turn the laugh tracks off.
Yeah.
So we were talking about historical presidential quotes, or quotes political quotes that kind of that you've heard along in your lives that have stood out to you. We kind of joked about the Howard Dean speech that he gave when he was running for president back in, what was that, 2000? I think you said
VP for John
VP
Kerry.
for John Kerry. Yeah, that was one that kind of is in a comical sense. That has resonated with you. And I think there's one. The one I think most people go back to is John F. Kennedy. Ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country.
That was at his inauguration.
Speech, yeah.
The two that immediately come to mind both came from the campaign trail. The first one that I remember seeing a lot of the videos on was Reagan after he got shot during his second race. And when the balloon popped inside the building, he looked to the right and said, "You missed me." And I thought okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. The second one that immediately comes to mind is following the attempted assassination of President Theodore Roosevelt when he was running as the third party candidate, if I'm not mistaken. He was shot in the chest with a bullet, and it hit the speech booklet that he had in his breast pocket.
Wow.
So it didn't pierce all the way through, but it did hit him, and he was bleeding. He still went to the spot that he was going to do his speech, and he explained, "My speech is going to be condensed because I was shot. My candidacy wants me to go to the hospital, but as you'll know, a bullet can't stop a bull moose." And then he made his speech and then immediately went to the hospital to get his chest checked out because they got him right smack dab in I think it was the left breast pocket when he was shot that day in 1912. So those are two that immediately come to mind when I think of specifically on the campaign trail for quotes.
That's crazy.
That was a little before your time.
A little bit before my time, but I'm a sucker I'm a history buff.
You know, I didn't honestly ever talk about this on the radio, but my mom was the president of League of Women Voters for the longest time here in Pima County. I grew up in that environment, and I was not heavily invested, but I learned quite a bit vicariously about the 60s and early 70s and all that. But for me, I grew up in the Cold War. And that was my childhood, was getting taught in elementary school how to hide under your desks in case a nuclear bomb falls outside the school. And Tucson, having the Boneyard and DM and a lot of other reasons, was pretty high at the time. So probably for me, the one that stands out was Reagan saying, "Tear down the wall," because
Mr. Gorbachev.
Because of the aftermath of how that all happened, that period of time, a lot of people, we've had a lot of tragedy since then. But guys, I mean, that period of the USSR and the America having, 100,000 missiles pointed at each other was not a fun time. So yeah, that for me, the Berlin Wall coming down was probably the biggest. And now I'm talking about formative years. I was in my teens or whatever. That was probably the biggest one I remember.
Yeah, that's one that resonates as well. That's one that resonates definitely. Are there any that resonate with you? 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. In terms of speeches from the conventions, I always remember John Kerry. "I'm John Kerry, and I'm reporting for duty." That was one that was very popular in the early 2000s. So we'll love to hear those. And don't forget, head on over to our Twitter account right now and vote on if you think Election Day should be a national holiday.
Vote on voting.
Vote on voting. Exactly. Vote on voting. We'll see where we are right now. It's 84% earlier. It was a landslide, as they sometimes call it. And right now, it is still a landslide. Now, 89% of you that have voted in our poll believe that Election Day should be a holiday. So let's see if we can make that happen. So everybody could have first Tuesday in November off.
Now, this is a slippery slope, though, DK, because eventually they're going to talk about, we need to make the Monday after the Super Bowl.
Well, I was going to say, the poll should have been,
yes.
The poll should have been day after the Super Bowl off or Election Day as a holiday. There has to be some kind of sports angle in there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you there are cities that will give you the day off if your team wins,
but not if you work in sports talk radio.
No. No, that would be a day that we would absolutely have to be working.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to
be
work
working.
during the game if you're a fan of the team. We've seen a couple of videos of sports anchors seeing their teams win championships while the game was going on.
Yeah, put down the fireball.
So will
It's
you
time to go to bed.
The fireball. Here we go with the fireball again. So will you guys be watching tonight? Do you have a plan? Are you going to be paying attention?
It's
or?
never called on night one. It'll always be like 2 or something days afterwards.
I'll say this much in full honesty. We'll probably have it on, but I will request a mute because there's levels to this these days. And I think that there's so much entertainment. DK, you just came out of that world. Like the levels of entertainment in news media, I find to be a little bit obnoxious. And I think I want to know what's happening. I like to be informed. I want to know the current events about what's going on around the world and in our country and in our county. And there's not a lot of real coming out of national news readers. And a lot of them are, I mean, again, it's just pure entertainment these days. And so we'll definitely be paying attention. But as far as listening to every syllable coming out for the next 10 hours, no.
I respect Mr. Kornacki's ability to work on that board, but the fact that there is a live stream on YouTube right now of the quote-unquote Kornacki cam, to me is a little bit absurd. I just need to know when certain counties are called. I don't need to have 24-hour surveillance on Mr. Kornacki as he breaks down the important swing counties for every swing state. You know, I don't need that.
Is there like a puppy bowl equivalent of this? Like if you're not interested in watching 10 hours of election coverage, can we like tune into like 10 hours of dogs pretending like they're running for office or whatever?
I mean, there's plenty on
should
YouTube.
start
I'm sure
that.
there's plenty of that.
You should start that.
Gotta be.
For sure.
There's 24-hour lo-fi like white noise rain music to listen to fall asleep to. I'm sure
course.
there's something like that on YouTube.
Early polls. Polls are closed some places. Early voting in. Trump up currently in Indiana. Trump up currently in Kentucky by a wide margin. So the early polls are closed in the East, and some of the votes are starting to come in. It's going to be an interesting night. I just remember 8 years ago, being downtown on 4th Avenue, just walking around different bars and a lot of pantsuits that night. It was a pretty interesting evening down in the center part of Tucson for the Donald Trump Hillary Clinton election. For sure. DK on the Sports Tip. We're going to talk some Arizona football in hour number 5. We'll break it down with Glenn Howe. Get his thoughts. I sent him a bunch of tape today. Hopefully he's had a chance to digest it.
You watched until it was 21-0, and you gave him the whole game to watch? Is that how this is?
I only watched it. Yeah, I watched a quarter and a half, and I sent him like 7 clips. I was like, what are they doing here? What's happening here? Oh, my gosh. Like, why? What's the blocking scheme here? What are we trying to do? Why can't we throw more of these passes to our wide receivers like they were throwing? Why can't we block like them? There was a lot of that. So you'll hear that coming up here in about 20 minutes. Right now, though, David is going to tell you everything happening in the world of sports in Southern Arizona and, in fact, around the globe.
Wildcats Radio 1290. 2020 Sports.
Well, the Suns got a classic display from Kevin Durant, and they needed it going against the 76ers, finally getting the debut of star free agent acquisition Paul George. Needing a bucket to get the lead late, the Suns also had to close it out on the defensive side right afterwards.
7 on the shot clock. Yabusele stepping out. Durant dribble past him with a finger run to the rim.
Yabusele knew he didn't want to give up the 3. Now the Suns need to make them shoot a 2. Okay, they're going to take a quick shot here. They're not going to, unless they're going to run it all the way down, which would be surprising to me. But you want them to tie the game with a 2, not win it with a 3.
George handling the rock. 5 on the clock. Step back inside the stripe. Won't get it. Rebound tapped out. Reload. Maxey. No.
Suns now currently sit as the number 2 seed in the West after 7 games, still unbeaten at home at the Footprint Center, 4-0 on the year. And already the major trade deadline news done. The polls close on the trade deadline as we have multiple moves pending physicals. Some corners finding new homes. Rams DB Tre'Davious White leaves the Rams to join the Ravens. Saints Marshawn Lattimore going to the nation's capital to join the Commanders. Steelers make 2 deals on the day, getting Jets wideout Mike Williams and Packers edge rusher Preston Smith in separate deals. Browns edge rusher Zadarius Smith heads to Detroit to go and shore up the Lions' pass rush after losing Aiden Hutchinson earlier in the year. And the 49ers also get Texans defensive tackle Khalil Davis for a draft pick. And winter meetings are still some ways out, but the Yankees will not see Garrett Cole there. They decide to go ahead and keep to the remaining deal of the 4-year contract he has with the Yankees after saying he was going to opt out earlier in the weekend. Choosing to stay on his current deal, the Yankees get to keep him and will not have to go ahead and turn his 4-year, $144 million contract into a 5-year, $180 million one. And I'm Dragon Ball with your 2020 Sports Update here on Wildcats Radio 1290.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together. Collisions that are reported and might experience some backups at Roger Road and Stone Avenue, 5th Street and Craycroft, Shannon and Camino de la Tierra, Oracle and Suffolk, and also some slowing at Campbell and Skyline. Our lows near 50 overnight, the high at 67 tomorrow and 70 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples has amazing deals on everything you need for the holidays, from custom holiday cards and photo gifts to laptops and gaming systems, even shipping solutions. And now save up to $350 on select computers. In-store only. Offer ends 11/16. Unwrap huge holiday savings at Staples.
If you have a Wildcat sign on your wall, 1290 is your radio station because we love the Wildcats as much as you do. This is the home of the Arizona Wildcats. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Wildcats Radio 1290 and Goldberg and Osborne, the injury lawyers, are proud to support the University of Arizona basketball radio broadcast on Wildcats Radio 1290. Listen on your smart speaker, on your phone, or on your radio. Get all the info at wildcatsradio1290.com/listen.
Hey homeowners, are you ready to chill out and go green? Goodfellas Air Conditioning can help. Introducing our latest lineup of energy-efficient systems featuring the new R32 refrigerant. It's cooler, greener, and better for the planet. You'll enjoy lower energy bills and a smaller carbon footprint. Not a fan of change? Goodfellas has a surplus of reliable R410 systems available. Unsure about what system you have or have questions? Give us a call for a free inspection. Goodfellas Air Conditioning, keeping it cool, keeping it green, and always keeping you comfortable.
Hey, what you reading, Marty?
Just about the sheriff's race. I like Heather Lappin. She has served nearly 20 years in the sheriff's department and will decrease crime by increasing patrols.
I know Heather. She was on the news fighting for reform.
Yeah, Heather Lappin is endorsed by nearly every local law enforcement group.
What about her opponent?
Chris Nanos' office was investigated regarding a sexual assault case. Also the misuse of funds.
Nanos sounds like bad news. I'm voting for Heather Lappin for sheriff.
Political ad paid for by Heather Lappin for sheriff. Authorized by Heather Lappin.
Hey, Wildcat fans, Arizona football is here. Catch head coach Brent Brennan as the Wildcats enter their inaugural season of the Big 12 Conference. We need you to be part of the action, filling the stands and cheering on Arizona. Secure your seats for all 7 home games with season tickets, or pick the plan that is best for you by calling the ticket office at 520-621-2287 or visiting ArizonaWildcats.com/FB. Lock in your tickets today. We'll see you at Arizona Stadium. Bear down. Go Cats.
The Wildcats play here. This is your home of Arizona Wildcats football, men's basketball, and baseball. This is the home of the Wildcats. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-8695. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-8695. That's 800-575-8695. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Always trust the big guy. Mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair at coolwillies.com. Cool Willie's is proud to be a partner of the University of Arizona Wildcats radio broadcast. two powerful teams working hard for you to get the job done right every day. Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Big enough to help, small enough to care. Remember to mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair. CoolWillies.com.
When you're hiring, ZipRecruiter's technology makes finding qualified candidates for your job easy. What if the rest of the world was as easy as ZipRecruiter? Math problems wouldn't be so problematic.
K equals 42.
And summiting Everest would be a walk in the park. In the meantime, if you want to make your hiring easier, use ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. The one and only home of Arizona basketball. Pre- and post-game coverage, play-by-play, and live press conferences. We are Wildcats Radio 1290. Live from the CNWT.
Wait, what's the CNWT?
Central Northwest Tucson. Duh.
It's DK on the Sports Tip with your host, David Kelly.
Radio. Just when I thought I was out, they drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
David Amata.
Hey, that's Dragon Ball to you.
And Cricket getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but three first names, David Scott Kelly.
All right, we are rolling. It is election night in America. We've also got the first official release of the college football playoff that's going to be happening tonight as well. So we'll know shortly the first of the 12 teams that are going to be scheduled, or at least have the opportunity to be in the playoff. We kind of talked about this. I don't know if you were here that, David. That day we talked about it. About when? How long ago was that, Jay? About a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago. It was. I think it was like maybe around week 3 when the first projection came out, and there was only one team from the Big 12 that was in that projection.
Yeah, for the college football playoff, it was like strictly one squad with Iowa State. And I think it was like Boise State was the number 12 seed. And I mentioned a comment of, I really hope Navy and Army both stay undefeated so we get them twice and potentially have an AAC team as that final outside the Power 5 school, which sadly Navy couldn't hold up to it, losing to Notre Dame. And I believe they lost this last week as well. So Army's still there, though. So maybe Army can get in.
Let's see. We shall see. We've also got some early projections in the race for the President of the United States. Kamala Harris projected the winner of Vermont and the 3 electoral votes there. Donald Trump, the projected winner of Kentucky, 9 electoral votes there. So we'll keep you up to date as well on that as we go here tonight. Interested to see now, though, guys, in terms of this college football playoff, with the excess, obviously, of BYU, and granted we had some upsets this past week with Iowa State losing. That was a huge upset there as well. I would think BYU is probably going to be the one team that's in now. Is there more than one team, though, do you think, in this first initial projection from the Big 12? Do you think that Iowa State potentially is still also one of those teams?
I think Iowa State has a shot of potentially being maybe like the 11th or the 10th seed. But as a whole, I think that you would more likely get outlying votes for maybe Colorado versus a team that just lost. I think that would be the big thing right there. Because, again, Colorado coming in right now on a 2-game win streak, Iowa State coming fresh off of a loss. You tend to see that with the rankings, particularly for college football playoff, they'll award a team that's more recently hot than a team that just took a bit of a backseat to another team. So I think if you want to see another Big 12 team in there, I'd be more shocked to see Iowa State in there versus getting Colorado a couple of outlying
This does
votes.
not require a coin in the jar, but what's the difference between the Pac-12 and the Big 12 now? Because what I'm looking at is a Colorado team, guys, that will have played one ranked team all year long because Oklahoma State's down, Kansas and Utah aren't what they thought everybody thought they were going to be. So they've only played the Kansas State team. They won by 3. And it's a bit of a self-own, obviously, because Colorado handled Arizona pretty good. But I agree. I mean, I think the Buffs are hot. There's a couple of teams, but guess what? I mean, we thought that the Big 12 overall would be Midland with some good standout teams that could come out of the top and maybe make the college football playoff. The teams that were picked towards the top, Utah, Kansas in particular, those two teams have just had some of the worst luck and the worst years possible.
520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. Our guy Paul in Phoenix checks in. We were talking last hour about should the day after the Super Bowl be considered to be a national holiday. Paul is all about that. He says he thinks that would be similar to the election day being a national holiday voting. And right now we're at 88% on people saying that election day should be a national holiday. He believes that we'd be right on point with that 88% of the people saying that the day after the Super Bowl should be a national holiday. Well,
what I'm really referring to is either or, because you might remember Public Enemy had some issues with Arizona back in the day because of a certain holiday.
Arizona.
Yeah, right. And that had to do, a lot of people don't know this, but a lot of the voting on that had nothing to do with race. It had to do with the idea that Arizona already had Rodeo Holiday, which was 2 days out of the year that no other state had. So figuring out a way to make that work. So what I'm saying is, if you take away the day for the election day, that's one more calendar day that employers don't have employees in the building. It would be one or the other, right? So it's like if you had to pick, and that's the sports related side of that thing. I think today on election day, I think we all think, most people think that a national holiday's, should have been in the works for some time.
Yeah. A lot of stuff happening tonight. One thing I want to get into that we have not had a chance to talk about yet is there's some soccer going on for Pima College tonight. The men are playing in the Division 2 regional semifinals tonight this is the Division 2 finals. This is the finals tonight up at Phoenix College. So this is the battle again. It usually comes down to these two teams in the final every year. Both of those teams, the Pima soccer teams, advanced with semifinal wins over the weekend, and both are going to play Phoenix College this week. The men are playing tonight up in Phoenix. This is number 2 versus number 1. The Aztecs are the number 2 seed. Phoenix College is the number 1 seed. And then the women will play tomorrow. The women of the Aztec women are with the number 3 seed. So they won as a lower seed on Saturday, and they'll face number 1 Phoenix tomorrow up in the Valley. So both these games getting underway at 6 o'clock tonight and tomorrow. Best of luck out to the Pima men's and women's soccer teams as they try to reach or win the Division 1 Region 2 championships coming up this week. We've had a number of those kids on our program throughout the entire season, and it should only come down to those two schools, as it always seems to do in Division 2 when you're talking about soccer. Phoenix College, Pima College, always right there at the top. These have been some unbelievable battles, unbelievable rivalries. It's very on point with ASU and U of A when you talk about Phoenix versus Pima on the JC side. Some epic battles that have taken place in the last few years.
It sounds a lot like what you'd see on a ballot. Division 2, Section 4,
right.
Group 6.
Now, did they send out a booklet with a breakdown of all the propositions for those?
Yeah, that's the propositions are the most confusing. You really have to do a deep dive into some of those propositions. And there were a lot. I don't know if I've ever seen that many propositions on the ballot before.
It bothers me when a lot of them are written specifically to be a little bit confusing.
Deliberately confusing.
Right.
Yeah, I think, and that's unfortunate, but that's state by state, and that's how states are allowed to run their own elections. I get that. It just seems that it's a little nefarious to write out something that is intentionally meant to confuse people.
Yes. Yeah. In fact, the thing about the propositions, you were talking about the judges and how it was just very difficult. You had to find out all the decision-making history of those judges.
Right.
There was also the proposition to go ahead and say, guess what? If you don't want to ever do this again, you can make them lifetime appointments. Yep. And I'm like, oh, no.
That's not a good idea.
No, I don't like that idea.
Yeah, so with the judges, it was there's a website that'll give you like they get voted on, I think, by attorneys and that kind of thing, and they have scores.
Like Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah. So basically,
which I think is hilarious because they give you, again, my father had a early ballot, so I was able to get his book to go over the propositions when I did my early vote. And going through the booklet, they just tell you the score of whether or not they met judicial requirements to be a judge. And I just thought to myself, that doesn't help me know who the judge is. It just tells me that they're competent at their job as based by those that are in their field. Like, you're being judged by your contemporaries and being then asked, okay, person who has no idea, if his contemporaries say that this person is good, you clearly have to agree with that statement, correct? And to me, that's also very misleading. I'd like to know some history about what somebody has judged on.
Right. That's true. I mean, that's why the whole thing with judges is very tough, especially down at the district level, because there's just not, it's easy to find out, I think, more like I was mentioning early on some of these state Supreme Court justices, because there's information out there on how they voted on certain things and rulings that they've made and that kind of thing that you can find in the media. But a lot of these district judges, there's not a whole lot out there.
Well, the good news is much like voting for the NBA All-Star Game, it's all public record. So if you don't want to vote for Embiid because he pushed a reporter, the same as if you don't want to vote for a judge, you could literally go look up their entire record on the bench.
Yeah. There you go. All right, we're going to talk some Arizona Wildcats football coming up. We're going to break it down with Glenn Howe, as we always do every Tuesday. Again, programming reminder, this is our last show of the week. We're going to take some time off for the bye week. So no show tomorrow, no show Thursday, no show Friday. We'll be back with you Saturday for Arizona game day, Meridian Wealth Management Arizona game day, before the Wildcats take on Old Dominion. We'll be on the air at 10:30 in the morning on Saturday, 10:30 to 1:30. Tip-off at 2 o'clock at McHale Center coming up on Saturday for that particular ball game. So we'll reconvene with you on Saturday for that. Glenn Howe next. Cricket getting you to home or to your election party or to your polling place if you have not voted yet. Doing it every 20 minutes on the 5s with your traffic and your weather.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. Collisions that are reported Broadway and Rosemont, also near the U of A. We've got 6th Street and Campbell. Campbell and Irvington, Ajo Way west of I-19. That's causing some backups on westbound Ajo approaching Mission Road. Collision on Tanque Verde east of Kolb Road at Tanque Verde and Camino Principal. Overnight lows near 50 tonight, the high 67 tomorrow and 68 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Their end-to-end solution helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all year round. Schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from your Indeed dashboard. Learn more by visiting Indeed.com/credit.
The very best in play-by-play is on Tucson's best sports station, Wildcats Radio 1290. This is the home of the Wildcats and NFL play-by-play. This is the one and only Wildcats Radio 1290.
At Wildcats Radio 1290, we're not just radio. We're your source in Tucson for digital marketing solutions. We specialize in creating strategic and effective marketing campaigns designed to get results for your business. Whether you want to target a local, regional, or a national audience, we have the right solution for your business. Call the Wildcats Radio 1290 business line at 520-887-1000 and put Cumulus Digital Media to work for you.
I don't feel so good.
You do feel hot. Dayquil Kids will take care of that fever.
What about my cough?
Dayquil Kids has that covered.
Will it make my throat feel better?
Yes, that too.
But will it taste good?
Yep, Dayquil Kids comes in your favorite flavor.
Purple?
Well, yes, it's grape.
Try new Dayquil Kids Plus Fever, the daytime coughing, aching, sore throat fever just for kids medicine. Safe for kids 6+. Use as directed.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Break up with stinky clothes.
Rinse it out. Every now and then I get a little bit tired of the stinks that just will never come out. Oh, Downy in the rinse straight. Every now and then I rinse it out. One wash and it delivers. One wash, it smells so clean. Downy Rinse and Refresh, it's a dream.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Fights odor in just one wash. Guaranteed.
Hey homeowners, are you ready to chill out and go green? Goodfellas Air Conditioning can help. Introducing our latest lineup of energy-efficient systems featuring the new R32 refrigerant. It's cooler, greener, and better for the planet. You'll enjoy lower energy bills and a smaller carbon footprint. Not a fan of change? Goodfellas has a surplus of reliable R410 systems available. Unsure about what system you have or have questions? Give us a call for a free inspection. Goodfellas Air Conditioning, keeping it cool, keeping it green, and always keeping you comfortable.
Don't hold back. Just dive right in. This is Desert Diamond. The round-the-clock, off-the-charts, over-the-top spectacle that puts a shine on any day, anytime. The tables are hot to the touch. The slots are spinning winners every day. And the point spreads are yours for the taking. So go ahead. Live the Diamond life. Desert Diamond Casino. Visit ddcaz.com.
An enterprise of the Thama Autumn Nation.
Wildcats Radio 1290 is everywhere. Wildcats fans can listen to us everywhere on our all-new app. Now available from the Google Play Store and the App Store for iPhone users. The home of the Wildcats is everywhere. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Point. Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace, you're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
Westwood One presents Today in Women's Sports. Over in the WNBA, the Indiana Fever introduced Stephanie White as their new head coach on Monday. White just parted ways with the Connecticut Sun, who she led for 2 seasons, winning the league's Coach of the Year award in 2023. This will be White's second stint with Indiana. She won the WNBA championship as an assistant with the franchise in 2012. 3 years later, she took over as head coach and guided them to another finals appearance before departing for Vanderbilt after the following season. Now, in her return to the Fever, she will lead a young, exciting team headlined by Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston.
I'm excited about the opportunity to work with them, the longevity that those two could have in Indiana, in Indianapolis, and hanging banners in this building. All of those things are so exciting. The future's really bright, and I'm just glad to be a part of it.
With Today in Women's Sports, I'm Erica Herskowitz on Westwood One.
I'm at the movies, asking people if they'll switch seats with me for $574.
Here, take mine.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
Too much work.
Not if you call them. They handle the switching.
Now, that's a plot twist.
Shh. Check Allstate first, and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
O'Reilly. Protect your vehicle's engine with Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Purchase 5 quarts of any Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil and get a $10 gift card after rebate. Find the synthetic oil that's right for your vehicle and budget. Shop your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store or O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
Wet conditions. The handoff will go to Conley, and he fumbles the football. It is loose, and the Knights scrambling for it. Who's going to get it? I think the Wildcats might have gotten it back, and we'll see. Central Florida, now they say they've got it, and the officials were waiting to see. Yep, it is Central Florida ball.
It's the Wildcat Hour, which means it's time for our Arizona Insiders.
Am I late?
No, my boy, you're just in time. Each weekday, Wildcats Radio 1290 brings you all the latest news and opinions of U of A football and the Big 12. So bear down, Wildcat Nation, and let's talk Arizona football. Our Arizona Insiders are brought to you by Coors Light, an official corporate sponsor of Arizona Athletics. Coors Light. Choose chill.
Election day in the America. Let's talk some Arizona Wildcats football with Glenn Howe, UA football class of 1985. Okay, Glenn, we've been conducting a poll here inside the studio. Early voting, day of voting. I'm grossly outnumbered here because I'm a day of voter, but everybody else is an early voter. How about yourself?
The first time I've ever early day voted this year.
Wow.
It was the first time this year.
Now, why did you make the decision to do that?
Because I got my ballot in, and there's like 70 things you had to vote on. Or like seven. I don't know how many. It was like 17.
There was a lot, yeah.
It was like 17, stuff. Yeah. It was a lot. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go here and just do it here at home. It was a lot of stuff to vote on. So I want to make sure I'm making the right decisions and doing my research and stuff and be a responsible United States citizen.
I joked that I think I went 14 for 17 on not coloring outside the oval.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very precise on that because nowadays you just got to make sure that you just put your stuff in and I sealed it up, got it to the post office and everything. So I'm pretty secure with my stuff. So I'm happy. We'll look forward to see what happens tomorrow.
All right, 56-12 was the score on Saturday. It doesn't feel any better today than it did. I often say that a lot of times that when you go back and you watch the tape, it's never as bad as it seems like the day you actually saw it. This might be one of those times where I didn't say that because it really was as bad as it was the day that we saw it. After you went back and watched it, any new thoughts on just kind of some of the things that went wrong for Arizona?
It was just bad, man. It got worse as every time I watched it. It's just the amount of yards we gave up on the ground was ridiculous. That was just not good. We need to do something different than what we're doing right now. Some of the stunts the guys were making, one guy was deciding if he should go underneath or around or we're seeing some of that kind of stuff going on. It's just not, it wasn't good at all. So hopefully this week what we're gonna do is that we're gonna, shore up some stuff, find out who's going to be playing, who can give that effort, and just make sure that these guys are all on the same page and get ready for Houston, which is a winnable game.
All right, since you started on the defensive side of the ball, let's go there because I sent you. I was joking about a segment ago. I sent Glenn like 7 plays, and I only watched like the first quarter and a half of this game until they were down 21-0. I was like, oh my God! I just kept seeing things, and I said, I got to pull this one out. I got to pull this one out. I got to pull this one out. Let's start with Emmanuel Carnley, who had a really rough first half, and I sent you 3 plays on him. The 3rd and 12 play, which was on the first drive, I mean, you had him behind the sticks with an opportunity to get off the field on that first drive. And it was, again, it was just a simple in route. He kind of slipped and fell, which hurt him. Could he have played that? Could he have played that any better? I mean, the one thing that kind of stood out to me was that he gave up inside leverage on that play, and then maybe he could have been a little bit tighter on the inside on that first play where it was just kind of a little bit of a easy post route.
Yeah, I'm watching it again right now, and you're seeing it. When he turned his hips and he got caught up in his feet, footwork wasn't that good. You got to know where the first down marker is. Okay, so you got that 5-yard cushion. I guess you had to play off because they were 3rd and 12. So you don't want to get too close. And then when you're going back and you're doing your back pedal, you got to be ready for it to make the movement with your hips. So the guy gave him an outside turn, like he gave him a little fake to the outside. He turned his hips, and then he went back inside, and he had no chance to recover. That's just technique right there.
And then third and 6, which was the first scoring drive. I actually thought he had good coverage on that play to the sideline. That was just a really good throw. Sometimes you got to tip your cap to the other team, and I just thought the coverage was there. It was tight. That dude, Dylan Risk, just made a really good throw there it was kind of just like a little bit of a stop route. And as soon as the receiver stopped, the ball was right on him. And that's what we're talking. We've been talking the last couple of weeks about Noah and timing. That's what I'm talking about right there. As soon as that guy comes out of his break, put the ball's on
there.
Him. Put the ball on
him. The ball was there. And the only thing I can say about Carney, he had great coverage there. Got to make the tackle.
Yeah.
Got to make the tackle. He got extra yards. He got 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5 yards extra. Should have never got that. Should have been down right there. And you got to know where the first down marker is. So you know he's going to break to the marker. You got to know where the first down marker is. So you got to understand that if he's doing it out there, that ball's coming. You got to look and see where he's at. So there's some, he played pretty good on that one, but, that's just a great throw. It was a great throw. He threw the ball before he even made the cut. So that was good.
Absolutely. Again, he put it on him right there, knew what the route was, knew he was coming out of it, and put him right on him. And then you talk about, obviously, got to make the tackle. The third play in the Emmanuel Carnley series was they were up 14-0, going down now to make it 21-0. It's just another, again, at that point, and I texted you this, at that point you got to believe they're salivating when they see, okay, we've got man coverage on that rookie again. Let's go after him. And that's essentially what they were doing. When you talk about you've got a Tacario Davis on one side and you got a redshirt freshman on the other side, they were saying, we're just going to keep attacking this kid until he shows us he can make a play. And on the third one again, he misses the tackle and gives up huge yards after the catch.
Yeah. So first of all, you got to make the tackle. You got to make sure that you understand where the first down marker is. And if he's doing a stop right there, he's just doing just a stop, and he's got to be on him. He's got to break on the ball, and he's got to be down and be ready to make the tackle because the ball's coming. He already knows that the ball's already there, so he's got to make that tackle. And you know what? The kid he's trying. He's got to get better at that, and he's young. He's going to learn from this. There's this couple things that happen when someone picks on you. You either say, you know what, I give up throwing the towel, and I get the white flag and put it up, or you look at the film, you get better the next week, and you come back and you don't let it happen again. Those are the kind of things that's going to have to happen with a lot of guys on this team. That you got to understand that, hey, okay, I had a bad game. Let's look at the film. Where did I make mistakes? Correct my mistakes, and let's get better. That's what they have to do.
Glenn Howe is joining us. He is our Arizona insider. It's Wildcat Breakdown, brought to you by Coors Light. Coors Light is an official corporate sponsor of Arizona Athletics. Coors Light, choose chill. And obviously, Glenn, we talked extensively on Saturday night about how they ran the ball with R.J. Harvey. The last defensive play we'll talk about here is I sent you. They had so they were up 14-0. I believe this was at the beginning. Actually, this was we had them pinned at the 1 yard line, and to me, I thought that was another. There were a couple of turning points in this game. I thought early on. Obviously, the fumble was huge. You're up 7-0. You fumble deep in your own end, and they score on the next play. Now you're in a 14-0 hole. Then you get the ball back again. I think they got one first down. They ended up having a punt. They had a 3rd and 2 that they couldn't get because, and we'll get to that play where the line broke down. But then you punted and you pin them back to the 1 yard line. So you have an opportunity now maybe to flip the ball game and get yourself a short field. But they couldn't stop the run. And this last play I sent you, UCF came out in an alignment where they were overloaded to the left. They had the tight end left, so they're showing power left. And we had our entire 3 defensive line set kind of bunched in the middle. And I'm looking at, after I was looking at this play, I was like, well, how do you think you're even, if they run to the left, how are you even going to stop that if all of your guys are kind of bunched in the middle and you're essentially leaving, they left Genesis Smith on an island out there by himself to have to take on an offensive lineman, and it's a run that goes for close to 20 yards.
Yeah, I looked at that play, and I thought maybe the alignment on the 3 technique should have been, he should have maybe been on a 5 technique.
Yeah, more out towards the tackle.
Yeah. So I didn't understand that, because if the linebacker is there behind the 3, he should be filling that hole. He should be attacking that right now. And he seems like he's coming up to attack it, but he kind of hesitated, and then he stopped and he slid. He should have been upfield, and then he would have been, if he would have been upfield, he would have never got blocked by that guard. And he would have probably made a tackle. He wasn't aggressive downhill. He should have went downhill. So I'm looking at that play right now, and he's got to be able to go downhill. So there's a couple of these plays where, like I always been saying all year, Dave, it's assignment and alignment. Know your assignment and get your alignment, and then you have a chance of beating that play. But if you don't have one of the two, then you're not going to have a very good chance of being successful on that play.
And Glenn, like that play and then the touchdown play, they just did a great job of getting their guys to the second level. I mean, every time you looked up at their big runs, I mean, they had hats on our linebackers. They had hats, in space, getting out on defensive backs. Like the one the guy drove Genesis Smith about 12 yards back. I mean, a very impressive blocking performance by that Central Florida team.
What they did very well was they handled the first level. They made sure the first level was secure before they went to the second level. We've been having an issue with that on our linemen, is securing the first level before you get to the next level. They did a good job of doing that. UCF did a really good job, and that's why they ran for 300-some yards.
Absolutely. It is Wildcat Breakdown with Glenn Howe. We're going to talk more about what happened on the offensive side of the ball. So I think we went through the 4 plays I sent him on defense. We'll go through the plays I sent him as it pertained to offense. When we come back, Cricket, though, is getting you home. She's getting you to your election party. She's getting you to your balloting station if you have not yet voted. Every 20 minutes on the 5s with your traffic and your weather.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together. With collisions that are reported, 6th and Campbell and 6th Street, Old Spanish Trail to the north of Valencia. Also reported Campbell and Irvington, La Cañada north of McGee, Ahoway west of I-19, and Tancaverde east of Kolb, Tancaverde and Camino Principal. Lows near 50 overnight, the high around 67 tomorrow and 67 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together.
This report is sponsored by Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. At Cool Willie's Plumbing, they'll help you with drain cleaning, water treatment, sewer repairs, and replacements. Trust the big guy. Contact Tucson's most respected plumbing experts at CoolWillies.com, where they are big enough to help and small enough to care. That's CoolWillies.com. CoolWillies.com.
NFL Sunday Night Football plays here.
Vikings run to the line of scrimmage. Darnold under center, receivers left and right. Here's the snap. Darnold back in a play fake, rolling left, looking, throws for the end zone. Oliver's wide open. Touchdown, Minnesota.
This Sunday night, it's the Detroit Lions taking on the Houston Texans.
I don't think it matters where we play at. Doesn't matter about the conditions. We knew that coming in here. Doesn't matter, man. That's just the way you're built.
Coverage begins at 5:30 p.m. We are Tucson's home for the National Football League. Wildcats Radio 1290.
Do you trust those in charge of your financial future? Trust is founded on 3 core principles: competence, honesty, and benevolence. Those making decisions about your financial future should always place your best interest ahead of their own. I'm Natalie Fernandez-Lee, and at Meridian Wealth Management, fostering trusted relationships with our clients is our top priority. Call us at 719-1433 or visit meridianwealthllc.com to learn more today.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
At Wildcats Radio 1290, we're not just radio,
We're your source in Tucson for digital marketing solutions. We specialize in creating strategic and effective marketing campaigns designed to get results for your business. Whether you want to target a local, regional, or a national audience, we have the right solution for your business. Call the Wildcats Radio 1290 business line at 520-887-1000 and put Cumulus Digital Media to work for you.
Hey homeowners, are you ready to chill out and go green? Goodfellas Air Conditioning can help. Introducing our latest lineup of energy-efficient systems featuring the new R32 refrigerant. It's cooler, greener, and better for the planet. You'll enjoy lower energy bills and a smaller carbon footprint. Not a fan of change? Goodfellas has a surplus of reliable R410 systems available. Unsure about what system you have or have questions? Give us a call for a free inspection. Goodfellas Air Conditioning, keeping it cool, keeping it green, and always keeping you comfortable.
Tune in to DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290 Thursday afternoons to compete in the Miller Lite Pigskin Challenge, where you can win money by placing a bet on the right team this football season. More info at wildcatsradio1290.com.
Hey, Wildcat fans, Arizona football is here. Catch head coach Brent Brennan as the Wildcats enter their inaugural season of the Big 12 Conference. We need you to be part of the action, filling the stands and cheering on Arizona. Secure your seats for all 7 home games with season tickets, or pick the plan that is best for you by calling the ticket office at 520-621-2287 or visiting ArizonaWildcats.com/FB. Lock in your tickets today. We'll see you at Arizona Stadium. Bear down. Go Cats.
Think of waking up with energy, standing tall and feeling free. Think First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
First Chiropractic is pleased to announce that Access Health Plans now cover chiropractic care. A referral by your PCP is required. For more information, go to firstchiro.com, the most trusted name in chiropractic care. A proud U of A radio sponsor.
First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
Choosing the right candidates for any office can be difficult.
My office has lots of drama.
I share my office. But no matter what kind of office you have, if you're hiring, you need ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology finds the most qualified candidates for your roles fast. So, for any kind of office,
I'm really going places in my office.
count on ZipRecruiter to find the right candidates for it. Try ZipRecruiter for free today at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This is Zach Gelb with Sports Minute, sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Baker Mayfield didn't fear the Kansas City Chiefs at all last night, but Todd Bowles coached in fear. You simply need to be aggressive to beat the Chiefs. Your QB just led you right down the field and scored a touchdown, and how Bowles sent out his kicker for the extra point instead of trusting Baker from 2 yards out to convert on a 2-point conversion ended up costing his team from handing Kansas City its first loss on the season. I'm Zach Gelb.
1 in 4 Americans have a disability. I'm one of them. I'm also a working mom who cares deeply about making sure every child with a disability thrives by getting their access needs met. We've got a trusted ally by our side. Easter Seals provides children and families the foundation for lifelong success through early learning programs, skills training, and prep for college and career. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Join us at easterseals.com.
All right, gentlemen, this is Emmett Smith on behalf of Depend, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing catch. Because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable, and 1 blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, Depend is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, Depend is donating 40 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for Depend Shield Guards Real Fit products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $300,000 void in Mississippi.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
Breaking down Arizona Wildcats football after a 56-12 loss at Central Florida. It is the bye week. Rejoined by Glenn Howe, U of A tight end, football class of 1985. We dove into some of the issues on defense, some of the struggles of Emmanuel Carnley early in the game in Orlando, and the run defense. Let's turn our attention to the offense. And Glenn, first offensive play of the game, Arizona ran a quick slant to Tetro McMillan that got them a first down. Now, granted, UCF blitzed on the play, which I was a little surprised to see them blitz right off the bat, sending 6 guys, and it made that play a little bit easier to negotiate because the linebackers both came and left the middle of the field wide open. But why are we not maybe seeing more of that play? It seems like it's a really easy pitch and catch to get the ball to your best player in the middle of the field, and that's one of the things we've talked about is like we're not seeing a lot of balls in the middle of the field. Why don't you think we see that play more often?
Well, I really think that that they need to do that play a little bit more often, especially when the guy's playing off of T-Mac and he's giving them some room. Let them, do a quick pop pass. They should be almost like an option route for him.
Yeah, that's a 10-yard cushion off the snap.
Yeah, exactly. So if he's playing off of you, you do a stop, you get him the ball real quick. You don't have to worry about anything. Just get him the ball real quick and then let him just do his thing. That's what I think they should do. If he's man up and he's doing all that stuff, I think we need to do a little bit more of that for him to get him open. And then also some quick passes to the other guys. Get the other guys to. If they're playing off, they have the call. They used to do that a lot in a Rich Rod offense. Yeah. I don't know if you remember. Rich Rod would, he would just he'd pull his helmet, and say, "Hey, we're running this." The guy's off, and it would be a quick pass and go. It's just like a run. It's absolutely like a run. I don't see why we don't do that with more of our skill guys. So we got some guys who can make people miss with Patterson, with Montonius, Craig, all those guys, Lamonius, all those guys. We can do some of those kinds of things that I think we should be doing more of.
The fact that we've been working together for so long is because you must have read my mind, because that was my next point. Was UCF? I think it was later in that quarter. They ran a bubble screen to one of their guys on the edge, where there was 3 guys. They had a 3 set. They ran a bubble screen with 2 guys blocking, and it went for 12 yards. Have we run a bubble screen with Jeremiah Patterson at all this season? And to me, that would be a perfect play for a guy like him. I mean, we saw that was the kind of play we saw with Jacob Cowing. And it leads me to wonder if they don't trust the blocking of these wide receivers, and that might be the reason we're not seeing more of those bubble screens in this offense.
Yeah, and that could be it. And I just don't understand why they don't do that, because you've got Hunter, you got Malik Riley, you got, Devin Hyatt, you got Murphy too, Romello Murphy, man. I mean, you got some guys that can make those plays.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why we don't utilize them. And that gets Noah going, get him more confident in getting in the groove, getting the rhythm going. That's what we have to do on this offense. And we just have not done that since the Northern Arizona game.
Chatting with Glenn Howe, UVA football class of 1985 Wildcat Breakdown. He is our Arizona Insider every Tuesday, brought to you by Coors Light. Coors Light is an official corporate sponsor of Arizona Athletics. Coors Light, choose chill. I'm glad you mentioned Malachi Riley, because I think, and we've been kind of talking about this for weeks now, Glenn, you and I and Kelvin, about the losses that this offense was facing when you send 3 guys to the NFL. But I think it's important to reiterate that it wasn't just the losses of Jordan Morgan, Jacob Cowing, and Tanner McLaughlin to the NFL that hit this offense so hard. The other piece to that, I don't think that a lot of people really realize, is that not only did you lose those 3 guys, but you also lost the 3 guys, or haven't gotten production out of the 3 guys that you thought were going to replace those dudes that went to the NFL. You showed up on day 1, and Raymond Polito, who many people thought was going to be an NFL potential first-round, top of the draft lineman, wasn't there. So not only did you lose Jordan Morgan, but you lost the guy you thought was going to replace Jordan Morgan. So now you're down to the next guy there. You lose Jacob Cowing. Many of us thought the guy that was going to replace him was Malachi Riley, who has what 3 catches maybe this season has been and has unfortunately been hurt. So now you're to the third guy there, and then you talk about Tanner McLaughlin. You thought that guy was going to get Keon Burnett. He's been hurt. So now you're to the next guy there. So not only did you lose 3 NFL guys, but you don't even have the 3 guys you thought were going to replace them on this offense.
Yeah, this is one of the worst injury bugs I've seen for Arizona football team. We've had injuries before, and it maybe 1 or 2 guys, but just the hitting of the three captains on the defensive side of the ball was really bad. I thought it was really showing. I think it's really showing us now how bad that was. And it's just that, and all these injuries were like freak injuries, and all these guys that want to throw Coach Carroll underneath the bus, the straight coach. That's bull, man. I mean, you can't. You got to look at what kind of injuries they're having. They're having some freak injuries that they're getting. And you can't really throw the strength coaches underneath the bus. We got to do some to look at, this is part of football. You get freak accidents, and we're not lucky this year.
Well, and let me ask you, because obviously you have a very large knowledge in the strength and training realm, and everybody's different. The way that Colin Carroll's doing it is different than the way the last regime was doing it. Do you see any? Do you think that there's some things that they're doing now that should be, or I guess, evaluated in the offseason to maybe how things were done under the old regime? And what was the guy's name?
They're evaluating now.
Tyler, what was his name? Tyler Owens.
Tyler Owens. Yeah, you have to do, after you have that many injuries, you have to do an assessment. You have to look at how they're training, and there's plenty of data that they can use. They can use for them to look at, because these guys are getting feeding them data all day long at practice. They wear these catapult monitors where they tell them how many miles per hour, how hard they're working. So you can really see all those kinds of things and look at the data. So they're going to I heard they're going to really dive into that this week, find out what their training regimen is. They need to make some adjustments and then go from there.
All right, a couple more plays, Glenn, I wanted to go over. Let's talk about this one run play where there seemed to be a miscommunication between Jonas Avinaya and Alexander Deuce on a stunt. What did you see on that particular play where the 2 linemen on the right side stunted and the one guy got let loose by Deuceton to get a hit on Nova Fida?
Yeah, well, on that one, you got to see, when you see the stunt where the guy goes inside, if you feel pressure as an offensive lineman, if you're feeling pressure and they're doing a twist, that's what they were doing. They're doing a twist. So if you see the guy, you got to make sure that you secure the guy that's doing the penetration, and then make sure that the other guy, your left tackle, is the guard and the tackle. He goes across his face. First, we should have never gone across his face. That was the biggest problem right there. Let him go across your face. You need to stop him right there at the line of scrimmage. And then you feel that pressure. Then you pass him on to the other guy. Then you pick up the guy that is looping. So you got to be able to push this guy that is going on the left side of the guard and push him to the tackle so the tackle can pick him up, and then you wait for that other guy to come back around.
Right. So Deuce didn't do a very good job of pushing that guy to Jonah. Yeah.
No, he's got to stone him right there. He should have stoned him and then make sure he doesn't get paid. You can't have penetration on a twist. That's what they want. They want penetration. You get penetration on a twist, you're done. The guy's turning his shoulders, and he's got a straight lane to the quarterback. And that's exactly what he did.
All right, Glenn, enjoy the weekend off.
All right, man. We just got to get back, and we got 3 games that we can come back and get after it and maybe get a bowl game here. Bear down.
Thanks to Coors Light for bringing you today's Arizona Insiders on Wildcats Radio 1290. Coors Light is an official corporate sponsor of Arizona Athletics. Choose chill. And now, the best thing you will hear all day.
Hachi-machi!
It's time for the Wildcat Radio Replay. In case you missed this earlier in the day, we now bring you the best of 1290. It's made possible by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
All right, we lost the great baseball coach Jim Wing over this weekend. I had a chance to chat with Jerry Stitt, longtime compadre of Jim Wing, earlier in the show, and I asked him why players in particular, loved Wing.
John T. Jack, who I think you remember Johnny T. He's one of my favorite Wildcats, and his saying is if you didn't fall in love with Coach Wing a minute after you met him, there was something wrong with you. And that is true. The guys just loved him, and I don't think the word charismatic quite fits Coach Wing. It's something different. It's just a feel that he has for people, and how he always treated the kids. They're just kids, but they're young men growing into men, and he just treated them so well, as we all did. But he was exceptional at that, and I've been hearing that for all day yesterday and all day today, in the texts and the phone calls I've been getting. I have remembrances about Coach Kendall, and when he hired Coach Wing, and one of the best things J.K. ever did was hire wingers. So yeah, the players' outpouring of emotion and remembrances. Everybody has a story about Coach Wing, and a lot of them are pretty funny, I'm telling you. But that's why he you could tell that he cared so much about you as a player, and not whether you were good or could hit or pitch or run the bases, but what kind of character you had, what kind of human being you were, and that was the development that we all tried to work on with the Wildcats.
That was the Wildcat Radio Replay with the best of the best from 1290. It's brought to you by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
Our thanks to Jerry Stitt for joining us. Glenn Howe, that is going to wrap up our show. No show Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We'll talk to you again, DK, on the Sports Tip next Monday, Saturday for basketball. If you haven't voted, get out and do so till 7 o'clock for J-Dub, for cricket, for Dragon Ball. I'm David Kelly. That's our time for tonight. Thank you very much for your time. Have a great rest of the evening and great rest of your week.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic. A collision center reported. We've got Houghton and Valencia, Old Spanish Trail to the north of Valencia, 6th Street and Campbell, and also Ajo Way to the west of I-19. Some slowing on the northbound I-19 merge onto westbound I-10. Lows near 50 overnight, the high 67 tomorrow, and a 68 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.